get started. Does anyone want to get out?
Hello, everybody, and welcome to a very, very special stream. We'll be talking about Power Rangers once and always, but let's kind of get into this. Let's bring in my buddy, Jay.
What's up?
How you doing, my man? How are you doing?
Man, I just got 30 years, man. I'm not even that old. I'm like 25, but still, so much of my formative years are on this series, man. I'm not gonna even deny it.
Oh, but yeah, for sure.
But how you been, man? How you been?
I'm doing pretty good. Hey, Skyhound, how you doing, brother?
Hello there.
So as I said, today we are talking about Power Rangers Once and Always, the 30-year special. Long time in the making. Got some returning people. I figured we'd start by kind of just talking about our general history of the franchise. Jay, you go first.
Well, okay. I was born I first got into Power Rangers in Ninja Steel. Then I had to go backward to catch up. Now, Mighty Morphin has a lot of cheese in it, especially on a rewatch. But it's cheesy, but it's worth it. It's worth it.
Oh, for sure. So just kind of keep going on about it. I got to plug in my headphones. It looks like the battery's getting low already. So
all right, do what you got
myself. So just
okay. Looks like I'm all alone here. Well, basically, to make it a long story short, I grew up I grew up in the early 2000s. Basically, you basically had the latter half of the Saban era and early Disney era. That was the majority. That was the majority of my years at that demographic. I think the last one I consistently watched was RPM. I came back for Megaforce, which was the Legacy season, and a part of me really, really wishes I hadn't. Honest to God, my biggest regret.
Yeah, Super Mega crap is definitely not the best. So for myself, I am certainly an OG. I remember watching Power Rangers right from the very start. I am an old man here. For the record, I'm 35, so I was like 5 years old. Literally the perfect age when this came out. Remember seeing the movies. I basically kind of got out of it around the Zeo era. Like I remember catching a few episodes here and there up to about Space. I did actually get into it briefly in my high school era when Dino Thunder was going on. I actually remember really getting into that season.
Oh, Dino Thunder was arguably. No, I personally count Dino Thunder as the only Legacy season because it was the only Legacy season that was good.
There were some good ones kind of here and there. But yeah, I'm a huge fan. I actually kind of dug out my Legacy Morpher.
Nice.
I got to do this. It's Morphin' time! Mastodon! So, even though I'm a Blue Ranger fan, I've actually kind of lost the Blue Ranger coin. So I just have the Mastodon in here because, like, Mastodon's cool. But yeah, I actually have a video to show you guys. If you want cheese, I got some cheese right here. We'll just full screen that. So yes, are you guys ready for some vintage Nick action?
One way to find out.
By the way, that Morpher is the same one I'm holding here right now. By the way.
To this day.
Yeah. Yeah, Blue Ranger's awesome. And so so let's just kind of get into this.
Instructions from the pro. Alright, so 1, 2, 3. It's Morphin' time! Triceratops! Saber-tooth tiger! Triceratops!
So yeah, this is me morphing with David Yost and Karen Ashley. This is that great Grand Rapids Comic-Con 2014, I want to say. So
About 10 years ago.
Oh, all right. The Bubba will be joining us shortly, so it's gonna be great. Oh, we're just warming your seat here, buddy. Whenever you're ready. So yeah, we got a few other people who will be filtering in here shortly, and as well as a very, very special guest. So
Okay, out of the original Mighty Morphin, which is your favorite major storyline? Because you got Green with Evil, White Light, the Aquatar Rangers, which was the Alien miniseries, and the Quest for the Zeo Crystal. Those are the 4 major storylines.
I'd say Zeo, but like also like I actually got to give a shout out to the Wizard of Deception arc.
Oh yeah,
where they actually found a way to get the White Ranger and the
Green Ranger fight each other.
and like they actually got a Tiger Zord versus In Space is awesome.
Yes.
I love In Space. And yeah, White Light is it's good. White Light is mwah.
A little on the nose with the red herrings, but other than that, White Light was pretty good for what it was. It was pretty good.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm sorry, I'm just a fan of Green with Evil. I mean, come on.
It literally did make the show. Like the show, like here's the thing. Power Rangers actually did pretty much kind of come out of the gate swinging, but it was Green with Evil that like Power Rangers was kind of a phenomenon almost right out of the gate, but it was Green with Evil that kind of cemented it. Like it blew it up. It
skyrocketed it basically.
Skyhound, I'm actually really jealous of you, but you're gonna be jealous of me here in a few minutes. Just letting you know. I'm not gonna go any more than that, but yeah. So who is your favorite Ranger, JD?
Out of the original or out of any season?
Original Mighty Morphin.
It's a tie between Tommy and Zach. I'm not gonna lie.
By the way, I just kind of want to give a shout out to Zach, who's actually a native of Detroit.
Oh,
so he's my hometown boy. I gotta represent, you know. But
naturally.
I actually did meet Jason David Frank at Motor City Comic Con 2014. It was an interesting encounter. Not gonna lie, he was very, very animated. So yeah, so when you heard that there was going to be a 30th anniversary special, what were your thoughts?
I was concerned because the actors never really had this started their careers, but they never really were on the best of terms with the production and crew. David Yost got the worst of it. Let's just call it for what it is.
Yeah, I think that story is pretty well out there now. But for those who aren't aware, David Yost himself is gay. Okay, and he was bullied for it on set. Not really by I think JDF kind of bullied him, not necessarily for being gay, but just kind of bullied him in general. But some of the crew members did bully him to the point where he actually just walked off set during Zeo. That's why you had like the whole old man Billy kind of send off thing.
Yeah.
And that's why he hasn't returned since. A lot of the other actors have kind of dipped their toes in, like even Walter. Did you know that for the Forever Red special, he actually voiced one of the Beetleborgs? I'm sorry, the Machine Empire.
I mean, come on, it's the Beetleborg. It's the same suit.
Yeah, but I just had to kind of be silly about it. But so yeah, like Walter's return, like David Yost actually hasn't returned since.
Yeah, this is his actual return to form. He said, I did hear an interview where Billy Yost would come back for Legendary Battle, but they would have to pay him a lot of money. But
yeah, there was actually a whole.
Forever Red's one of the best team up episodes of all time.
Oh, for sure. We'll probably be playing the morphing clip here shortly, but oh yeah, I forgot. Catherine Sutherland did voice one of those Rangers. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Huh. The more you know.
The more you know.
God, we are old.
Yeah, if you get that reference, how's your back doing? By the way, my back's feeling pretty okay. I got some cushions kind of behind here on the couch, just kind of helping with the pain. So, speaking of these two, I actually met Christopher Kamen Lee at Monroe Pop Fest last fall, and he has a copy of Torino 100 Samurai.
Well, a little plug here and there. Go on, nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
And then, so I have to say this: if we're going beyond Mighty Morphin, my favorite Ranger is Jason Font, Time Force Red. I'm a huge Time Force fan. Wes is probably my favorite Ranger. Like Billy's my boy, but like if we're going beyond Mighty Morphin, I gotta give a shout out to Wes.
Okay, Wes was pretty good. Wes had a pretty solid arc, but you gotta admit, Jack from SPD was a pretty solid Red Ranger, hands down.
Yes, I definitely agree with that. SPD is a great season. So yeah. So let's just kind of get into this episode. We've delayed a little long enough. So I was trying to kind of push things a little bit, kind of wait for other people to pop in, but so yeah. So what were your initial thoughts on this episode?
I thought it was going to be a little bloated, dragged out, but you could really tell the family aspect. Everyone really came together. I thought this was going to be like an almost 2-hour thing, very dragged out.
Mm-hmm.
But it was tasteful. It was right. It was right at 52 minutes, and you got a very solid, almost tribute at the very end. I couldn't have asked for a better special.
I will say, making Trini kind of the focal point of this was the right call.
Yes, definitely.
So I actually really liked it. I do have some minor nitpicks. I really wish we could have gotten the original 5 back together. It's really stupid that it's just nice. It's really stupid that like they didn't come back, you know. I mean, anyone who knows like the story with JDF to know just how much he was dicked around in his later years.
Oh, every bit.
I don't know if you've heard like some of the stuff Bat and Son have been saying, but like I do not fault JDF for not doing this. Amy Jo Johnson, on the other hand, can.
Well,
yeah.
To be fair,
I'm not the biggest fan of her. So
even though Amy Jo Johnson does kind of throw a stink eye at the fans at cons to a degree, a lot of that is due to bad blood from the non-union aspect of how Power Rangers was produced. There was a lot of bad blood behind the scene. Now, granted, Billy Yost got the worst of it, but that was right when their careers were taking off. That leaves some impact.
Yeah, it's just even David Yost, even at his worst, was never really against the fans. Oh
no!
Wait. Jay Heat, I gotta interrupt you there because guys, we have a very special person who just came in. Everyone, I am happy to present not only the composer of not just Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, but Power Rangers Once and Wasserman, Ron freaking Wasserman!
Hi guys. My God. How you doing?
Sir,
I wanted to stop by and say hello.
It is an honor, sir. It is an honor.
Thank you so much. How you guys doing?
I'm kind of freaking out right now because I'm so happy this is happening.
I can't even believe this is happening. How you doing, sir?
So, Ron,
I'm doing fine.
So what was
a little tired but good.
What was it like to return to this franchise after so long away? I know you kind of dip your toes back for SPD a little bit, but what was it like being in the Mighty Morphin space again?
It was great. It was nice to come back to it, but it was so different than the original series that it just felt like scoring a new project that the Power Rangers happened to be in. I loved every second of it. It was hard to do, but I loved it.
How did this all come about? Just curious.
Last July, they shot me an email. The director shot me an email and said, are you interested in scoring the show? We're doing a special. We'd love to have you back. I said, absolutely. Count me in.
To be honest, it just wouldn't have been the special without your name and those credits. And trust me, when I watched the special, when I saw your name, I was actually very happy. And yeah, you definitely brought the Wasserman factor back to Power Rangers.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it was fun to do the orchestral stuff too, because I'd never really done that in the original. A little taste, but the original was a lot sillier. So this I got to be a lot heavier with.
Yeah, like I noticed you definitely brought back kind of like that rock guitar feel that like was in the original. And you didn't even you didn't like just dig out the old files. You actually how did you recreate that sound? I'm just kind of curious.
Well, I had that guitar sound that I've actually used on the Redux album I did in 2012.
Very good album, by the way.
Nice.
Very
good album.
I have 5,000 guitar sounds, but I dug that particular. There's this one little sample library I got once. It's just got that chunk, and it's just easy to blast through stuff. And so that's what I used in a few other libraries to play the lead stuff. But yeah, everything was from scratch. The hardest part was getting that drum sound back. I lost what I did in 2012, so I kind of had to go back and get close to those sounds again. But that's easy. It wasn't that hard.
Oh yeah. So what was kind of your favorite track to score? Like, do you have any favorite outstanding portion of the score you did?
Yeah, my favorite part is when we need dinosaur power now, and then they get into the fight. So that was the best part by far.
I will say probably the biggest thing that I wish they would have done is, you know how in Pioneers every time the finisher they kick in the Pioneers theme. I was waiting for them to do that. When they did the finisher, I was waiting for them to just kick in the theme. I was like, why didn't they do that?
They didn't ask for it, and frankly, back when I did the original, all my rights were taken, so I wasn't going to give any more money to Saban.
Fair point.
Yeah. And hopefully, if it goes to a series, they'll, I can write a new theme. We'll see.
Has there been talks of it? Because honestly, I feel like
they're hoping for it.
Oh, because
the director was hoping for it, and I think it's probably done well enough to where, they're going to wait.
It's third on Amazon right now. It's third on Amazon for something like this to be third on Netflix. That is huge,
especially in just a few days.
Yeah, that should definitely get them thinking very hard about making a series out of it. But they're going to have to discuss it. Then they have to write scripts because Netflix is going to want, let's say they order 8 episodes. They want all 8 scripts in advance. They have to secure whoever's going to still be in it or any new people. So it would probably be 6 months to a year before they could even start shooting.
I have a feeling that if this goes a series, you will probably be getting another call.
They better.
So, how was it working with Hasbro this time? Because they're currently the owners of Power Rangers. What was it like working with Hasbro as opposed to Disney or Saban back in the day?
Well, Disney let me have. Saban let me have free reign, but once the show got really popular, everybody wanted to give a note so they could say, well, I'm responsible for that. I told Wasserman what to do. I never listened.
You see how that helmet, you see that stripe on the helmet? Yeah. The one that looks totally ridiculous and it ruined the show? Yeah, I'm responsible for that.
Yeah, exactly. And then Disney, I just wrote the theme. So that was a breeze. They were great to work with. Mm-hmm. Hasbro was the easiest by far because I only dealt with the top guy, the director, and the producer, which was wonderful. And so that was really smooth. At the very end, I got notes from everybody at Hasbro. He put everything together, and it took me 4 hours. It was nothing. It was, can you change this note? And it was a good note. Can you have this note go up instead of go down? When there's the flashback, when Min has the flashback of her mother, at the very end of that thing, I went down on the note and I went up. Oh, that's a great moment. But yeah, this was like scoring a short, not that short, a film. So a completely different approach than the old days.
Yeah, like it's almost kind of like a two-parter almost because it's like two episodes kind of smashed together.
They named that at IMDb. There's part 1, part 2. I don't know why. I'm really glad that it wasn't going to be on network TV with commercial breaks because that's such a buzzkill.
Yeah.
So it was good that it just blasted right through.
I think Netflix is probably the best home for Power Rangers right now. Like I honestly think Nickelodeon has been holding Power Rangers back the past 10 years. Kind of like the need to do like super seasons and whatnot is really kind of like, like that kind of.
I agree.
Yeah, that's a fair point. You could argue some of that was Toei, with because I can't confirm this, but I did hear that Toei actually wanted to split have the 2 seasons as 2 different Sentai. Excuse me, God, I can't talk. Sorry, I'm just so nervous.
It's okay, bro. It's okay. Ron's a nice guy.
Relax.
His guitar, he's really biting on the keyboard, but that's about it.
Yeah, that's it. Other than that, I'm as chill as anybody could be.
Yes, he is. So one this is kind of outside of Power Rangers, but I gotta ask you this: what's kind of been your reaction to? Real quick, I gotta add this guy to the stream. Bubba, you're here with the legend himself.
Hello, Geek Hero.
Howdy.
Sorta. Hi, how you doing?
So, Bubba, in case you didn't know, this is Ron Wasserman. He is the composer of Power Rangers and also Once and Always. So, like the Go-Go Power Rangers, he did it.
Wow, that's awesome, man. Like one of the most iconic songs of like 3 generations.
Thank you so much. Glad to hear that.
And I kind of want to touch upon like the other big theme you're known for. What was it like? What's it? Because like with Marvel has been kind of using the X-Men theme for some of the stuff. What's kind of been your reaction to it? Have you been getting any scratch from it? Like I just kind of curious.
You know, people sent me clips of the videos where they used it. You know, video clips. I mean, of where they used the X-Men theme, and it was really flattering and really nice. And yeah, the X-Men thing is really growing in popularity more lately over the last 5-7 years than it was after it came out. So yeah, it's been wonderful that people talk about it. And I haven't spoken to Marvel at all about X-Men 97.
You knew I was going to ask that. You knew it.
Yeah, I tried to contact a few people. My Disney connection said it's Marvel. It's a different world. So yeah, good luck.
See, we deal with Mickey Mouse. They deal with Iron Man.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe I'll still hear from them. I don't know where they even are in the process. I think it's supposed to come out this fall, which would mean in about 2 months they should start getting ready to figure out who's going to score it.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully you get a phone call before then, man.
Yeah.
Even if
I'm here, Marvel.
Even if it's just to be like, hey, could you do a remix of your X-Men theme or something? Like, could you kind of thing? Like, just something.
I actually redid the theme maybe a year ago. I threw it up on my YouTube channel just for fun.
Oh, that's awesome.
So hopefully they don't make a mistake and use that one. Then we'll have to talk. I heard they paid a fortune to license the original theme.
The Go-Go Power Rangers?
No, the X-Men theme, the original.
Oh, yeah. Because I guess the rights are still held in Fox or whatever.
Yeah, it was Saban and his partner still hold all those rights, like everything else.
Yeah. Doesn't Saban still own the rights? Doesn't Saban still own the rights to Go-Go Power Rangers as well?
Oh, yeah. In perpetuity for, I think, 75 years past their deaths. So
I wouldn't be surprised if Disney would be like, hey, here's a big dump truck full of cash. Here, you will sell the X-Men rights now? Make it 2 and you got a deal.
I think that's probably what Marvel had to do with Saban. We want the theme. Ooh. I'm
Give me
not
some-
part of any of that.
Give me $1 billion, and then Bob Iger's like, okay.
Yeah. Good Lord. So it'll be interesting to see how that turns out.
So I recognized your name from the X-Men. I was one of those kids who wasn't really allowed to watch Power Rangers when I was real little, and then by the time I would have gotten into it, I was a little older. So I'm more of a recent fan. Like within the last 10 years, I've seen bits and pieces of everything. I watched the new special last night. It was absolutely awesome. But I do have a question for you. Did you have anything to do with the score for the Mystic Knights of Ternanog?
Oh,
That
God,
was a Saban show back in the day.
I would have to look it up. I
believe
have.
that was after you left. I believe because that was like late '90s kind of era.
Early 2000s.
Yeah, that's late 90s. I'm out.
Yeah, it was. That was 97.
I'm gone by then. I left in 95. I kept doing stuff for him. I did Dragon Ball Z and a couple more themes for him, but that was the extent of it. I just fizzled it out.
How did you work on Dragon Ball Z? Like, did you just do the score?
Yeah, they said we have this show called Dragon Ball Z. Nobody cares about it. Do whatever you want. Just score them at home. So I did it at home on with a Mac computer, no digital recording yet, a couple keyboards, and a VHS player hooked up to my 19-inch television. That's how I scored that show.
How much of the original run did you score? I'm kind of curious now.
First 3 years.
So you're
Rock
the one.
the Dragon.
So you're probably the one who scored like when he first went Super Saiyan. Like that's you.
Whatever was in the first and second and third season was me.
Guys, was the Frieza arc first season?
I think it was second season, at least during the DBZ run.
So yeah, he's the one who scored the Super Saiyan scene. So yeah.
Yeah, it would have been. Yeah, I was scoring that thing wall to wall. They said no silence, score the whole thing. So I just figured I'm going to do this big stuff, and I had a lot of fun doing it. But literally, when it was done, I never even knew it aired, and it wasn't until, again, like 5-6 years ago, somebody said, it's a pop culture thing, and I said I had no idea because I'd worked so much for so many years that I'm only looking at the next thing, and the last thing I do is turn on the television and watch any of the stuff or really watch anything. I mean, it's pretty rare.
So, like, what are some other notable things you've done? Like, I know you did Bippity Boppity.
Bippity Boppity. And then I did.
I'm sorry, guys. That's kind of like an inside joke between me and Ron. So, like,
and then at Geek, I did. I did stuff for SpongeBob. Wherever they wanted rock stuff, and then like the haunted toy store. I remember doing that.
Did you ever work on Sail the Moon?
Yeah, I did a song for the album that may have been in the show because that was when I was still at Saban.
Right.
It was after Saban that I was working for Deke, so I had all of CBS Saturday morning. They had this thing called Coolopolis, and there was maybe Mummies Alive, Horseland, something else. I can't remember.
You don't realize this, but you're hitting the nostalgia boner of a lot of people here right now.
I love that.
Like, Horseland? That was my favorite thing.
What about Earthworm Jim?
No, Earthwind Jim.
Earthworm Jim. It was a video game for like the Sega back in the day. It did get a Saturday morning cartoon.
No, I did. When I left Saban, I worked for a company called Seventh Level and did Ace Ventura, Tamagotchi. These were all PC games. Mm-hmm. 2 Monty Python titles and something called Battle Beast. And right as I finished Battle Beast, the company went bankrupt. But the games were out there. It was a very different way to score back then. You had very little memory, so everything had to be done with just a few sounds.
Oh, just imagine if you're scoring for the consoles. Like I said.
Yeah. Mommy's alive.
So
that was a fun theme.
Yeah, and another kind of big thing about part of your career is that you actually was a composer for Hot in Cleveland. and you actually got to
Mhm.
work with like Betty White. So, like, what was
Yeah, I
that like?
spent-
Kind of working under Betty White.
I spent 4 years on that show, and it was a joy. I would go to every shoot. I only missed 2 Friday night shoots. We did 137 episodes, I think. I only missed 2. I went to every single one. She was a dream. I had a teacher to play drums once. It was great. All the girls in the cast were wonderful. It was really nice. And for that, that's when TV Land was trying to do original programming, and it was working for them. They were doing that. I did a show with Cedric the Entertainer, one with Kirstie Alley, another one that I'm not even going to mention. It was so bad. And then one day, TV Land decided, their demographic is like people in their 50s watching Andy Griffith and then Betty White, the Golden Girls, all that. And then they decided we're going to reinvent ourselves and go for the 20-year-old audience. And that was the end of their programming after a couple years. Unfortunately, they blew it. I remember sitting with them when they told me, I said, sure, people are going to go from watching Andy Griffith to a show about teenagers. Okay. Not going to work.
Yeah, like without a total
And it
reinvention.
didn't. Yeah.
So, Skyhound asks, does the name Superhero and Samurai Cyber Squad mean anything to you?
Sounds familiar.
It
But
was
no.
It was another tokusatsu being done by Deke. It was like on a different network. It aired kind of around the same time Mighty Morphin. I think it was airing around like when you were doing your Mighty Morphin stuff. So I'm not sure you might be familiar with it. Just he asked questions and I kind of pass it along.
I was barely into Deke at that time. Then I did, like I said, I did everything. Then Deke went under, and then he started another company, and I've done stuff for him. The latest is called, did the theme for a show called Shaq's Garage. So I guess that's coming out somewhere soon, but that was a fun theme. And I had to have Shaquille O'Neal say a line twice in the theme. And I'm like, it was a simple line, but he couldn't get the rhythm. Finally, I just pieced together a bunch of takes, so it sounds like he's saying it. I would think that guy would have amazing rhythm. I mean, he's a basketball player. They have rhythm.
Yeah,
it's a natural.
For sure.
Yeah.
So, could you tell my favorite story of yours, like the time you met Eddie Van Halen?
Oh yeah, sure. So
that's my favorite story of yours. Like, I'm sorry, I want.
Oh, it is. It's a good one. So Valerie Bertinelli, Eddie Van Halen's wife, was a fan of the band Fisher I had with my ex-wife, and we got invited she invited us up to her house to watch her movie of the week. I can't remember the name of it that the song was in. I'm sitting on the couch with them, and I hear psst, psst, and it's Eddie Van Halen behind me. First thing he does is he pulls me into his kitchen. He pulls out a baggie that has a bone in it, and it says, "Not for soup." He said, "Do you know what this is?" And I said, "No." And it was his hip bone. He took it home and kept it in the freezer because he had to have his hip replaced from all those backflips and shit he did on stage.
All those dive bombs.
Yeah. And he used to do a lot of backflips. He just, I guess one day it didn't go right. And then
he can no longer jump.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's probably where he lost it. So then we're hanging out a bit, and he pulls out a guitar and he tells me how he had to learn the Power Rangers riff for his son Woofy. And he said, took me like a week to figure it out. And he hands me the guitar and says, "How did you play it?" And I handed him back the guitar, went to his grand piano and played it on the piano. I said, the whole thing was done on a keyboard. And he just went, yes, I had no idea. So I figured if I could pull Eddie Van Halen, the master, then I did pretty well.
And yeah, like it definitely sounds like it doesn't sound like a guitar being played through keyboard. It actually sounds like a guitar.
Yeah, because I knew the voicings of the guitar, so I've never strayed from what a real guitar could do. So now when I see all these YouTube videos with people playing the riff, it looks really hard to do, and I can't play a note on guitar.
Yeah,
I've tried.
I've tried to learn it a couple of times, but I never could do it myself.
So have you seen the videos with people like playing it on bagpipes?
Yep, I thought that was brilliant.
That was
Bagpipes
actually a
on
really good video.
electric
It
violin.
was awesome.
Yeah, absolutely awesome and very flattering. Really flattering. So yeah, that's it's out now. I'm glad to hear it's number 3. I was trying to figure that out this morning. Just Googled it real quick and nothing came up. But if it's number 3, that definitely ups its chances, and probably a lot more people will watch it, I imagine, this weekend. So if it holds in that top 10 for a few days, that'll mean a
Yeah, because
lot.
Netflix does if something places in the top 10, it catches Netflix attention. And
Yeah.
being number 3,
And they,
if you can hold number 3, that's gonna be like on Netflix. Could be like, you got any more of those Power Rangers? I was trying to do my best cocaine thing.
Yeah. And they have like 44 million films there. So yeah, to be in the top 10 is great. I remember when I did the Thundermans, I think last year, for whatever reason, Netflix started airing it, which is great. But there it hit number 1 for a couple days and then slowly moved down. But still, it got to that point, which is probably now why they're going to do a movie.
Yeah, I think you're probably right in regards to Power Rangers, because like it would release on a Wednesday. There's probably people who are waiting for the weekend to watch it. I think that's so. Really, the big thing is how does it do over the weekend? Like, I think it might move up to number 2, maybe number 1, because there's not really much anything new on Netflix, and now that plus like the ratings are out, there's kind of word of mouth kind of going around like, holy crap, this is actually good.
Rotten Tomatoes was good. That was good.
And so Skyhound asked, next to MMPR, what other theme of Power Rangers was the most fun to compose for you?
Power Rangers, really SPD, but Power Rangers in Space was just because it's so whack. It's just a wacky theme.
Yeah, especially when you realize like the original Sentai version is just about video games, and they made a space series out of that. It's just crazy.
Yeah, it was that was a fun theme to do.
Were you still around for Ninja Turtles, the Next Mutation?
No.
Oh, okay.
Now, Ninja Turtles was before I got into scoring at kids shows. I don't like calling them kids shows, but kids shows. And then they were doing stuff after. I've never heard from anybody who controls that franchise. I don't even know who owns it.
Currently Nickelodeon.
Bastards.
Yeah, CBS and Viacom.
Yeah, because it was owned by like Peter Laird for the longest time. He's like the co-creator of Ninja Turtles. Kevin Eastman sold his rights. I think was it late 90s, early 2000s?
Early 2000s, I think.
Yeah, so and so Nickelodeon bought the rights. I think late 2000s, early 2010s, basically, and they've owned it ever since.
Yeah, well, that's good. I wish I would have been involved with that, but we'll see. Who knows what's coming in the future?
Yeah, I can only see good things for you because you're first off, you're an incredibly talented composer. First and foremost.
Oh, thank you.
And as everyone can see, you're literally the nicest guy.
Thanks. Thank you.
So I definitely see more people wanting to work with you, and if they do not hire you for the series, I will riot.
No, they were the accolades I got from Hasbro and from the whole team in New Zealand was, I don't think they would screw me out of that.
So obviously you can't say anything for certain, but given how they liked your previous stuff, there's a good chance.
Oh, I think they would absolutely call me back. They absolutely would.
I just don't want to put any words in your mouth. I don't want to say, I don't want news headlines being like Juan Wasserman confirmed for this. I just don't want to do that to you. So
yeah, but plus they're it's only a few days. They're going to have to go through their meetings and run their numbers and figure everything out and schedule everything and then bounce around the idea and then bounce it off their wives and their kids' friends and talk about
bounce
it.
it off their mistresses.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's keep this PG, ladies and gentlemen.
It's my channel. We can do whatever the frack we want.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, but I imagine probably within a month or so, I'll probably hear something if it's, or, I'm sometimes the last to know. That's kind of my life. So they could be well into it.
Well,
Yeah.
for what it's worth, for all of our wives, cousins, mistresses, kids, you would be top choice.
Thank you.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Oh, that's very funny.
But sir, I think I speak for everyone both here on the stream and everyone who grew up with this franchise that has been an honor to speak with you tonight.
For sure.
It's been
Absolutely.
great. And now I'm going to go collapse for 15 minutes before I get back to work. I've been working on a video game on and off for 5 years called The Next World, which hopefully comes out later this year.
Oh,
I remember
seeing your post about that one.
Yeah, I no longer post just because it's supposed to come out in 2019, then 2020, then 21. Then last Sunday was supposed to be the premiere of the trailer. That's delayed 2 weeks. I'm not dissing anybody. I realize they run into problems, but when something's actually happening, then I'll talk about it.
To be fair, 2020 and 2021, we kind of had some things happen that delayed everything. So I'm not going to harp on the guy too much.
Yeah, exactly. But at one point he was done with the game, and then he didn't like it, and he erased the whole thing and started over from scratch. So he's very
that's a creator right there.
Yeah, he's a genius programmer, and that's kind of his day job thing is, he writes code for ATMs and all sorts. He knows what he's doing. He's been doing it since he was 15. So it'll get done. And if it doesn't, I'll kill him.
All right, guys, stream's over. I'm going to have to delete this stream because now that's evidence.
I never said anything. Who was that? No, it'll get done.
So, Ron?
And then there's 3 other things coming up, but they make you always sign non-disclosure agreements. So I'm in the running, and if any one of them comes through, it will be beautiful. But it's not X-Men.
Before we go, we have the righteous dude himself, Forrester. What is up? Oh, can you hear us? I guess they're having some technical difficulties.
Yeah, it's only 2023. Why should the internet work that well yet?
Exactly.
Or cell phones especially, right?
Right.
All right, well, I'm going to go take a little break before getting on to the next stuff. It's been great talking to you guys, and thank you
from
so
the bottom of
much.
my heart.
Thank you.
All right. You guys have a great evening.
You too.
All right. Yep.
All right. Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye, Nick.
Bye. Oh, okay. Good. All right.
Oh, that was
so that happened.
Dude, that was incredible.
All right, let's try this again. Hello.
Hey, what's up?
You just missed him.
Yeah, I know. I was listening on the Amtrak. I'm up to speed, but I couldn't start it on the train.
It's okay. But yeah, that happened, guys. We just had Ron Wasserman on the stream, so that
that is absolutely awesome. But I'm glad you reminded me who he was, because I was like, that name. I know that name, but yeah, you know how it is.
Yes.
Until you see their face, they're just a name in the credits.
Oh, yes. Lord, he's as big a part of the show as any of the actors.
Every bit.
Exactly.
Oh, I agree. The music composer, kind of like a letterer in a comic book. You don't realize how badly they matter until your letters look all wonky.
Yep.
Oh, for sure.
Music makes or breaks a franchise. Just look at some of the choices they made for Street Fighter.
Yeah,
like the cartoon.
We don't talk about that, Bubba.
Yeah. I don't think he realized y'all were asking about the next mutation. I don't think he realized you were asking about the later.
Oh, that's been mean for years, Nick.
Of course. Wait. I actually have that one as a drop. I got it. Okay, wait. Let's see here.
Of course!
So Forrester, what's your history with the Power Ranger franchise? And Bubba, we're gonna ask you the same thing. We're kind of start over here, and we'll kind of get this thing going.
Well,
All right. I
what
was
was the
actually.
question real quick?
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
you have a question, Bubba?
So I was asking you to repeat the question.
Your history with the franchise. We're gonna ask Forrester first because they're just joining us, so I kind of want to give them like a chance to introduce themselves,
Cool.
and then we'll with Bubba, and then we'll kind of just get in on with talking about the show.
Okay. Well, I was actually there the day one when it premiered,
Me too.
and I remember
We're
it
both
was,
parts.
there was a programming block. It was Beverly Hillbillies and Gilligan's Island in the afternoon.
Oh,
And it came on afterwards. And my mother didn't actually approve of those kinds of kid shows. So I had a real sleazy trick. I'd ask her if I could watch Gilligan's Island and then not turn the TV off.
That is clever. That
Yep.
is clever.
So I watched it from the very beginning, day one of Mighty Morphin. I stayed a long time. I didn't tap out until Wild Force.
Holy crap! Wow,
Yeah.
10 years. 10 years.
By the time I was 15, I was like too embarrassed. I popped back in for Dino Thunder, and then I dropped out again until Samurai, for better or worse.
Yes.
At least it wasn't
the-
Megaforce.
I mean, I liked Samurai, but like I felt like it was okay, but gonna go up, and then that ended up being the best Neo Saban put out.
I would argue Dino Charge is probably.
That's it? Oh yeah, you're right. Dino Charge. Okay, it was pretty good.
Yeah. So the Neo. So yeah, like the only like Samurai was okay. The only reason it's okay is because they literally just took the Shinkenger scripts and be like, okay, these are ours now, and they literally just did like verbatim.
I
The
know. By that point, I was watching the Japanese one first, so even when I think of them, I think of Dino Charge as Kyorager in my head.
I'm not much of a Kyoryuger fan because like the Red Ranger kind of dominates the show. He's very much a Gary Stu, and the show literally warps itself around him, and I'm not kind of a big fan of that.
Yeah, Zelda Principle. It was the first Sentai I watched all the way through. So
What Sentai was it?
Kyorager was the first one I saw all the way through.
Mine, let's see here, was probably Gokaiger.
Yeah,
Some of my favorite Sentais are Gokaiger, Goanja, Deca Ranger. I'm trying to think here. I'm more of a Kamen Rider guy, honestly.
Same here.
What's your favorite Kamen Rider?
That's a hard one to pick. I like the original a lot. I like Gaim.
Gaim's really good. I'm a
Right.
Fies fan. Drive's
Yeah.
also good.
Probably Gaim is my favorite of the modern ones. Double. Even that's kind
just
of a
live
cliche.
more. Just live more. Yeah, Double is. Oh my God, yes, Double. But yeah, we'll kind of circle back to the Kamen Rider stuff later.
Yeah.
But yeah, so what are your guys' thoughts when they first announced that they were doing a show? Also, I gotta show this off. Legacy Morpher.
Nice.
Yeah. By the way, the actual prop they use in the show.
That's kick-ass, man.
Yeah, so what were your guys' thoughts when they kind of announced it and kind of leading up to things?
I was a little burned out, I'll be honest, because I've gotten excited too many times since like 2013 that they're going to do a really good anniversary. Like this is what I thought I was going to be getting 10 years ago.
Yeah, they've really dropped the ball. I will say the Ninja anniversary special is fine. Like for what it is, I think it's fine. Obviously, Forever Red is kind of the gold standard. Once a Ranger, I think, is a bit underrated. I think it doesn't really get the respect it deserves. It's kind of a celebration more of Disney.
Yeah.
But they brought back Adam, and that was cool, you know. But I think once a Ranger was pretty good. Obviously, Forever Red is, you know, the gold standard. But like, yeah. as a Gokaiger fan, it's hard to watch Super Mega Force.
I feel like they actually kind of got worse when they knew there was an adult audience. It's like when they thought they were writing for bright kids that were gradually getting older, they like ones like, you know, Judd Lynn and the crew back in the day put a lot of effort into it. The newer producers, I guess, I don't know. It's like they look down on the adult audience.
And it's what's even worse is they bring back Judd Lynn, they brought him back, they brought him back to the second half of RPM, and he just dusted off his in space scripts,
Pretty much.
yeah. So if you're watching RPM, be like, why are they just doing the plot of In Space? It's because they fired the original producer, Bard and Judd Lynn, and he just turned it into In Space. They literally just copied the plot points in the second half of In Space. You know, Tanaya's good. Oh no, we installed a chip in her. Now she's bad again.
Yeah, I get that. I was referring more back into kind of his golden age when, like, you know, the original In Space and
In Space is great.
Lightspeed.
It's a masterpiece.
Yeah, my favorite era is probably the post Zordon era. You know, like Lost Galaxy through Time Force. Like that. Those were just like. I think it was basically around that time where they knew they weren't popular anymore, and I think they're mostly just writing for the hardcore fans at that point, and it shows. And we got some of the best Power Rangers ever during those seasons.
With Mega Farce, that's my name for it. I feel like they were actually looking down on us, the audience, almost like they didn't need to try. They're like, oh well, you know, those people aren't very smart. Throw anything at them.
See, the problem is, the guy who was running Power Rangers at the time was Jonathan Tresnor. He's another old head. If you look at some of the original Power Rangers stuff, his name does pop up there.
Yep.
He's not good. He is not good.
No,
I think Jonathan, wasn't Jonathan Tresnor, wasn't he in charge during Wild Force?
Briefly.
Because that was another season where they actually stuck really close to the Sentai, even to the point of having Japanese directors. And I think that's kind of why Wild Force suffered a little bit. I always feel like Power Rangers is at its best is when they take the plot of the Sentai and just kind of redo it, kind of reinterpret it for example, Time Force. For example, Time Force. That sticks very close to the Sentai, but they twist it a little bit. So what do you guys thought?
Well, you asked what our first thoughts were when they announced, you know, anytime they announce any sort of legacy revamp or, renewal or anything at all, reunion, my first thought is don't woke it up. And I feel like they did a darn good job keeping things the way it was supposed to for this.
Yeah, and even in this one, I feel like, because I feel like Trini and having a new Yellow Ranger, I'm gonna actually do a deep cut here. This is basically the plot of Hurricane Your 10 Years After. I'm just gonna say it.
Pretty much.
Okay, anyone who's so Hurricane Your 10 Years After, there's basically this kid who's trying to become the Green Samurai Ranger. Yes, just roll with it. I know. But by the end he becomes the Green Samurai Ranger. Which I got to do a quick tangent. I've been holding this in for 10 freaking years. Why didn't they bring back Cam for Legendary Battle and have him and the other Green Samurai Ranger be like, I'm the Green Samurai Ranger. No, I'm the Green Samurai Ranger. Well, I can go Super Samurai. Well, I can go Super Samurai. I just wanted that so bad. Okay, I had to get that out. I had to get that out. Sorry. I've been holding that in for.
Don't you feel better now, Nick?
Much better. But yeah, I think they definitely handled it well. They could have so easily bungled it with lesser writers. And yeah, I do like how Zach's kind of the heart of this special, and yeah, because it would have been so easy to have this new plucky upstart tell they're wrong, but no, he actually had to do a selfless act and whatnot. So yeah, It's
She was not overpowered. Like you said, she didn't come in and just outdo all of them. She literally, she had training. She did what needed to be done. She had to go through the motions just like all the rest of them until she felt it in her heart. Like everything was done the way it should have been done. In that regard.
yeah.
I would like to have seen a lot more of the old cast, like from all the different versions. Like even if they didn't have them like actually there, like stunt doubles and costumes off in the background, like in a war battle scenario, I would have loved to have seen that.
See, here's like they were talking about going to a series. Here's my fear, is that they're going to use that as a way to transition to a new cast. Like they're going to just pass down their powers to like their kids. Like, for example, if they do a series, they're going to have JJ become the new Green Ranger.
That's very true.
Or either that, or they bring in Jenna Frank as maybe Tommy's long lost kid. Like maybe he maybe he had a kid with Kimberly and she never told him. When I don't know.
That would be a little forced, but I see where you're going with that.
Because, yeah, I don't know. As much as I don't want to, I know they're going to probably bring in Jenna Frank.
Probably in some capacity.
Yeah. So Forrester, what did you think of the series?
The way they could always make it to where Kat didn't know she was pregnant during this fight. They could age up everything quite a bit. Put her about 10 years down the line. I don't know, man.
I don't want another time skip because you got to realize these characters are already in like their 40s. Just kind of perspective. Walter Jones is 52 years old.
I was say they're in their 50s, dude.
Yeah, they're already kind of hitting the wall in terms of doing this kind of stuff. So if you do it 10 years old, they're little to be in their 60s. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Let's be fair. In the very first opening scene, like when they're fighting, right before Trini gets killed, like some of the flip moves and stuff they're doing, like especially after they're seeing Billy and them like morph and all that, it was really, really hard to stay in the moment. Like I laughed out loud because I couldn't really visually, mentally see them doing those backflips and stuff anymore.
To be fair, David Yost is a gymnast, and I imagine he probably kept in shape. So someone like David Yost doing some of that stuff, I could see it. But you got to admit, Walter Jones, his hip hop keto is still strong.
Oh yeah, no, I got back into it pretty easily. Like it wasn't like it was just for a split second. Like it was really hard to imagine the people that we just saw, being the people in the suits for a second. But they did a good job.
Yeah, I mean, some of that can be hand waved away with they're in their suits, they're powered up.
Exactly.
Yeah. Forrester, what did you think of the special? Like, what were your thoughts on it?
Well, I kind of said my thoughts earlier. It's what I wanted 10 years ago. I think it really would have blown my mind then. I'm glad it exists. I really enjoyed it. That's my only complaint. It's just that it took so long. I was really glad to see Billy back, given what happened behind the camera and all that. I'm not sure if I agree with killing off Trini the way they did. Something is out of tone with the franchise to me about that, but I think
she died saving Billy.
And we had seen a character death before in Lost Galaxy.
True.
Kendricks, yeah. You had to do something to acknowledge Trini. It's either that or recast the role, which they're not going to do.
Oh no.
So I think centering the episode around Trini was probably the best way to go.
Yeah, I agree.
But I can't really see of any other way they could have killed her. He died saving a fellow Ranger. I mean, that's a pretty good way to go. And it is also a very Trini thing to do. But
Yeah.
what do you guys think about the kind of like the big twist where it's revealed that like Billy is the one who brought back Rita, if accidentally?
Dino Thunder.
Yeah, I didn't want to be the one to say it.
All right. What do you mean by Dino Thunder? Because I'm not sure what you guys are trying to get.
Remember, okay, Tommy worked at this research. I think it was on a private island, but in
Oh
Dino
yeah,
Thunder,
he accidentally created like the Mesogog thing. Yeah, I like, and that's kind of where like, obviously the show acknowledges that like other Ranger teams exist because like you saw like some of the other figures there. Like, but like when I saw Zeo Yellow, I was like, oh, they got Tanya. Crap. It would be really interesting, like if Disney Frank was a part of this, would he bring up like, yeah, I created Mesogog or something? Because like I'm not sure if the writers would want to acknowledge any other like post Ranger lore.
that remains to be seen, man. But all in all, this was a great special.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, because here's the thing, like, the Zeo powers still exist, and we know from the Ninja Steel episode that Kat still has her turbo powers for some reason. So it's like Adam still has his Zeo powers, and he also has his repaired Dino Morpher because the Sentinel Knight repaired his Morpher. Also, like, I want to like, even though it's technically Mastodon, I kind of want to feel like his powers are more his Ninjetti powers. So maybe he's tapping into different things. Because, like, technically speaking, the Ninja powers and the Dino powers are two separate power sources.
Technically, but I think that was just for the sake of the Ninja arc and the I forget the Sentai. I think that was more so for the sake of adaptation, and it was never referenced again.
Oh, you're right, because they were adapting Cocker Ranger. They wanted to use the Cocker Ranger Zords and whatnot, so that's a big reason why. Because the Thunder Zords, while they're the Dire Ranger Zords, they're still technically the Dino Thunder Zords. But the Ninja's powers are separate.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm just kind of curious.
What?
So, did you guys have any like criticism for the show?
Maybe the whole. I already told Nick this off camera, but I get the whole teams with attitude, but Min's angst could have been dialed back just a little bit, in my opinion. But that's more of a nitpick than anything.
Yeah, I mean, I hear what you're saying. It didn't really bother me too much, but I can hear what you're saying.
Forrester?
I can't think of anything offhand. Let me give it a minute.
Yeah, for me, do you guys ever like notice? It seems like certain parts of certain scenes were very badly ADR'd. Like the scene where Min is talking to Zach. Her voice, it kind of feels like it's very clearly ADR'd.
Yeah, but in the franchise, one could argue that's a stylistic choice. It probably isn't, but
fair. Yeah, it does kind of give it a little bit of a shield, I'll admit.
Doctor Who is like that, where sometimes they cheap out, but it fits the classic vibe. So
wibbly wobbly, timey wimey.
I was fixing to say, at the very least, that wasn't too far out of the way the old show would have been handled.
Yeah,
That's a fair point.
I kind of liked it being cheap. I wouldn't want it to look like a Hollywood movie.
I mean,
on the other hand, though, I did like their CGI on the moon. I did like that.
And I got to admit, the Zord...
Okay, CG Megazord. That was a problem I had. Like, I know Toei still has the Daijujin suit in storage. I really wish they'd done practical Megazord.
Well, the thing is, it's a lot easier just like contract with CG firm and say do this versus like, because they like, I could maybe see them doing Suitimation, like just kind of hiring, like it's contracting out with Toei or some other company. Well, it'll probably be through Toei because if they get to do Suitimation for a series, but like for this, it was just a lot easier to just do a CG. Like the biggest
Well, I
problem
like
we
the
have.
fluidity of the fight, though. Like I felt like Slither specifically, like he had to be CGI, even if they did the Megazord practically.
Oh yeah, I really hope at least the monsters they actually will make suits for them. At least that, you know. I don't know. But like the biggest problem I have with CG is the problem you have with a lot of CG is there's no weight to it, and especially since we have like the actual renders, like the models themselves were fine. Like the actual models of the Zords, I didn't have a problem with. And I guarantee you, Billy rebuilt those Zords. I'm pretty certain because like the cockpit is totally different. So I feel like he probably either rebuilt them or like probably rebuilt the Zords. I think that's pretty clear.
Yeah.
That cockpit was kind of an amalgamation of several that we saw throughout the generations, though.
Yeah, but like it's very clearly there's been some work done on the Zords because like I don't know if you guys realize the dinosaur technically never got destroyed. It's been sitting in Angel Grove Harbor this whole time.
Yeah.
That is true.
Now, one thing in the day, I never saw the movie, so I thought there was an explanation for how Zeo became Turbo. I didn't know they literally just dropped it.
So, okay. So just to like, so the first movie is not canon. That is, the first movie is completely not canon, but the second movie is.
Yeah.
Apparently, there was going to be there's a deleted scene where Divatox destroyed the Zeo powers, but for some reason, they didn't use it.
Yeah, I get that now. At the time,
I never knew that the first movie wasn't canon.
I didn't
that's
until
great.
the DVD, because when I was a kid and I tuned in season 3 had the same Zords that were at McDonald's, where I'd gotten the McDonald's toys, I thought, okay, season 3 follows the movie about like Transformers did. I didn't realize that season 3 tells a totally different origin for the Ninja Zords.
Yeah. Like, there's a reason why, like, we never saw, like, the suits in the show, or Ivan Ooze never showed. But for some reason, they brought over the Tengu Warriors, which is, I still, like...
Don't let a good prop go to waste. But I will say that, okay, Nick and I recently did a collab on Power Rangers 95. Which would you say was better between the two? Not counting the Megazord, but how that the Ninja Quest arc was adapted from... I think the original was better compared to 1995.
Well, the thing is, the original was a 10-episode arc, so you clearly had more time to tell the story. So there's that.
That is true. That is true.
What do you guys think?
Yeah, I have to go with the show. I thought the movie actually came first, though. Did it not?
I believe it did, because they were shooting.
Yeah, I'm looking at Wiki now. It was September 11th, 95 is when Ninja Quest Part 1 aired.
Yeah, because they were shooting the movie the same time as season 2. That's why, like, partway through season 2, all of a sudden they decided to take a trip to Australia for a while.
Yep, it was during the Rita and Zed wedding arc, I believe.
I believe so. Yeah.
Well, that was far from the only show that Saban had to do that with. It got a lot cheaper to film over there.
Okay,
yeah.
The movie came out June 30th, 95. So, yeah, kids saw the movie first by 2 months, except me.
I was 4 years old, so, you know.
I was 8.
I'm
only slightly older than Nick by a few months.
So, yeah, I was probably 8 as well then. It's weird being the old farts on the stream.
Yep.
So
but we remember the cool stuff, so it balances out.
Yes, we remember it, so they don't have to.
Exactly. Did
you
ever see that
Bubba got the reference. Bubba got the reference.
Yeah,
yes, I did. I still watch him all the time.
I stopped watching him a long time ago, but that's a
lot of people did.
Yeah.
I just got tired of him. I didn't even know about the controversy. I just kind of newish.
He never like honestly his like he just he's been doing the same jokes over and over again. I mean, AVGN is he at least AVGN for all like I know he's not the best, but like even he is still at least he's still doing some things to improve his stuff. Like at least his shows look better. Like I dare you to like Nostalgia Critic barely looks any better than 2015, whereas like at least technically AVGN looks really good.
I kind of feel like with Nostalgia Critic, that's a part of his charm, though.
I liked him better solo. When he started doing skits with other people, I kind of tapped out. I didn't like that as well as just him being kind of an ass.
In his defense, the reason he started using skits is because he kept getting demonetized from using all those money clips. Because originally he used Blip TV, which was a little bit more lenient with like copyright clips. Then Blip TV went out of business, and they were bought by Maker Studios, and Maker Studios was bought by Disney. So basically, Nostalgia Critic was forced to come back to YouTube. And all those like movie clips he used, he was running into copyright claims, as expected. So that's why he just used clips. That's the reason why.
Yeah, pretty much. I think you can catch some of his old videos on YouTube if you really look for them, but not many.
Batman and Robin was kind of my favorite one.
Oh, that movie was a train
wreck. Credit card.
Yeah. And that's
okay.
Stupid fucking.
But if we're talking
supercalifragilistic,
hold on, I gotta say this. Forrester makes a good point. I gotta say this. Which movie was filled with more product placement? Batman and Robin or Power Rangers 2017?
Definitely 2017.
Yeah.
Also, Jay, thank you for getting us back on track. I appreciate it, brother.
It's tied with Transformers 2007.
Oh God! I almost forgot about that.
Like, I'm sorry, but like, I'm still reeling from that scene in Transformers 4 where Mark Wahlberg just takes a Bud Light, smacks the crib open, and just like drinks it. Like,
we did it.
Yeah, I'll never forgive Transformers 07 for putting an honest to God car commercial in the with the music. They were advertising the car. It was like the movie.
Yeah, this was before the revamped Camaro came out.
Yeah, and the way they're looking at the car, and all, it's just a commercial.
I think that was more of a package deal than anything.
But I will say my favorite product placement is in the final scene where you see the Xbox, you hear the Xbox startup sound, the arms pop out of the box. That was nice.
Yeah, we need an edit where like the voice says the Transformers will return after these messages. And then the part of the movie, and then the movie resumes. Like,
hey, at least it wasn't a kid running around with comic books fanboying the whole time.
I think it's Iron Man 2 put their own toys in the film.
I'm an action figure.
I was referencing Black Adam, but
yeah, but like too. I was also that was Hercules, which by the way they did actually release that as an action figure.
Oh man.
Oh god. To be fair, Hercules is more satirizing like the merchandising aspects of those films, so I kind of give it a pass. They weren't actually plugging anything.
But you're saying they made an action figure of him saying that?
No, that scene where like he squeezes it and he goes like that.
Oh yeah.
They actually made that into an action figure.
Oh, I wish they had an action figure of that scene where he's like holding the little of himself. I would have bought that at the time.
Oh my god! I part of me wants to create like a diorama of that scene and just like shadow box it.
Do you remember the McDonald's toys for Hercules when they came out? Like McDonald's toys kicked ass back then.
Oh yes, yeah. I do, man. That movie was freaking awesome.
Like, I'm sorry.
Like all the hype around it and everything.
I'm sorry, but the greatest tie-in toy promotion ever was Burger King's Pokemon.
Yes.
I'm sorry, that was peak. Like the first one where like they had like 60 different toys. They had the gold-plated cards. The toys came in Pokeballs. Like I actually have one around here somewhere. I had the Butterfree one. Like they had like the keychain ones. They had the plushies, and they were really nice too for like a toy. They were really nice.
Yeah, I've had a few over the years.
What?
The Beast Machines Transformers in 2000. And the McDonald's toys were actually more accurate to the show than the real action figures were. Like, those were the canon toys in my head.
Huh.
No one liked Beast Machines. I'm the only one that likes that show.
Yeah, I'm a Beast Wars fanboy.
Everyone is.
Come on,
Dude, I
Beast
loved Beast Wars. I loved Beast Wars. But I did love Beast Machines.
Yeah,
No, I loved, especially when they started waking up the the different Autobots and Decepticons that were like trapped in the new Decepticon bodies. I freaking loved that.
Okay, which Beast Wars toys do you guys have as a kid? So I had the Transmetal Optimus Prime. I bought that. That was really cool. I had Tiger Hawk. Oh, that toy is so nice. I had Transmetal 3 Optimus Prime. Oh my god, that thing was so complicated.
Optimal Optimus.
Optimal Optimus. Okay, yeah. But yeah,
I had Cheetah. I believe it's called Scorpion.
Scorponok.
Scorponok, thank you. And I had the Dinobots.
Yeah, those are so good. And what's crazy is, did you know the CG was actually done by Mainframe Entertainment, same people who did Reboot?
Yes, I did.
Yes, I did know that. And for all the people complaining, that it's not fluid and it didn't age well, man, if anybody was around back then, if any of these kids now,
CG animated cartoon ever.
Yeah.
Sucked my big white cock.
But see, and that's that escalated quickly. Anyway, now I will say this: the only Beast Wars toy I ever had, not for lack of trying, but I had priorities. The only Beast Wars toy that I ever had was the McDonald's Transmetal Dinobot. That was it. But on the other hand, the reason for that was because the 90s Spider-Man and the 90s X-Men series were still going strong. And I had, I only really got stuff that was before my mom finished nursing school and everything. And so my birthday and Christmas were the only times I could ask for things. And so at the time I had to prioritize, and I really wanted Beast and Wolverine more than I wanted the Transformers stuff.
I agree. I did get the Beast Wars. I had, I had Optimal Optimus. I had the original Cheetor, the Transmetal 2 Cheetor. I had the McDonald's toys. I got a fair amount of them. I got a lot of the unnamed side characters because I like making up my own stories for them. And but I didn't get any of the Marvel ones at that time, except I had Ben Grimm, the Thing, and that's it.
Yeah.
Spider-Man. But if you grew up in the 80s or the 90s, there were so many going at once. You had to prioritize.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, and that's the thing. Most of my aunts and uncles, cousins, that didn't know what else to get me, my parents would automatically tell them to just, whatever Batman or Spider-Man thing was out at the time. And at that time, we not only had the resurgence of the animated series for Batman, but we also had Batman Forever and then Batman and Robin back to back to back. They had the animated movies. And so Batman was freaking everywhere. So if you had a little boy in your life that needed a present, it was probably going to be Batman related.
Yeah.
Oh, Ellie, I have to answer your call. Yes, I know what time it is. It's Morphin time! Mastodon! Sorry, that was for you.
Okay, I'm probably going to get some heat for saying this, but which is better, Beach Ass or Spider-Man the Animated Series from the late 80s?
As much as I want to say Spider-Man, it's Batman. I love, I think I think outside of fan circles, Spider-Man, the anime series, is kind of looked down upon just because of how restricted it was.
Oh, it was censored bad, but
you're talking about the 90s one?
Yeah,
yes.
I'm surprised we haven't gotten a 90s Spider-Man cameo into the Spider-Verse. I don't know why.
Because the voice actor don't want to come back. He's literally said so 200 times.
Oh,
that's true. That is true.
Yeah. No, he has said hell no. That's why he didn't do Spider-Man Unlimited back in the day as well.
Why doesn't he want to come back? Does he have some bad blood?
I don't know. I have never seen any explanation. He's very gracious about it. Every time he talks about it, he does. He just says that, due to disagreements or whatever, but he has not thrown anybody under the bus. He has not tried to, no. And for what it's worth, he had a great relationship with Stan and Joan Lee. Like they loved him to death. He just didn't want to come back for the series anymore after it ended.
Sounds like Christopher Eccleston from Doctor Who, where he doesn't want to come back.
Eccleston's still my favorite Doctor.
Oh yes.
One of the best.
Kamen Rider Kuga.
Oh
no.
I'm still shocked. We actually got Deno to return for Heisei Generations Forever. That was a get. Like you actually got him to come back, because isn't he basically Japanese Tom Cruise? Deno actor.
Huh. I never thought of it like that.
Yeah, because he became like a big star. I know other Kamen actors, like Forze is actually somewhat big in Japan. That's why he doesn't come back very often. But yeah, versus like Decade will come back anytime you ask him to. God, I love Decade.
Okay, Unlimited does get a bad rap, but that's only because the original was that much better. Like Unlimited,
see, this is why it pisses me off. They're showing the Unlimited suit in the trailer. Like you actually can see the Unlimited suit.
Yes, it's right there.
It just makes me like, okay. Now that I know that the actor doesn't want to come back, and he probably has good reason to, okay, that's fine, but it's still disappointing.
Wait, does anyone remember that CGI Spider-Man series that was on MTV?
Oh, that was so good.
Yes, I do.
Never seen it.
And that version of the Lizard became pretty much the version everybody, like almost all the fan art, almost all the art. They changed him a lot in the comic book because everybody liked that version of the Lizard so much.
Well, the thing is, I really want to say like that version of the Spider-Man, it was really influenced by the Ultimate Comics at the time, because if you actually look at the character design,
absolutely,
that's true. That's true.
But I think the Spider-Man series that everyone looks back to is like, what is it, Spectacular?
Oh, that was a good
one there. That needed a season 3 so bad.
Every bit.
Like that.
Every bit.
Yeah.
I need to get around to watching. I hear it's really good.
You've never watched Spectacular Spider-Man?
Oh, dude, don't hate on him. It was a really weird time slot, and if you were above or below a certain age, there was no way in hell you were going to get to see it all the way through.
When did it air? What year range?
2008.
Let's see.
2008 to 2011.
I was in my last few years of high school at that time.
I graduated from high school in 2006, so yeah, I was totally outside.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And bear in mind, that was also right before the death of Saturday morning cartoons. Like that was in the final death throes.
Yeah.
Well, Saturday morning cartoons died out early 2010s, because remember, we did get Kamen Rider Dragon Knight back in 2009, which, by the way, is good. That is a good series.
I don't really. Okay, I remember Kamen Rider was like the last few shows on Jetix. And it got dogged on so bad because everyone thought it was a Power Rangers ripoff. No, it's a Toteku series all on its own.
And actually, Kamen Rider predates Super Sentai by at least 5 years, because Kamen Rider Ichigo aired in 1971, and then Go Ranger premiered, I think, in 1976.
But it's important to remember that only the biggest, most diehard mega nerds would know that. Even your average Power Ranger junkie doesn't know that.
Even today, with Kamen Rider literally getting released in America, like you can literally go to Amazon and buy Kuga on Blu-ray. Like I own Master Rider the First on DVD. Literally, it's on my shelf right now, and I bought that like 10 years ago. Kamen Rider Amazons on Amazon Prime, which I'm sorry, I just love that pun.
I don't know if it's the original version, but I know one version of Master Rider was used in a pilot episode in Mighty Morphin.
Okay, so they used
Black RX.
Yeah, Black RX. So I think they used some of the movies for some footage, because they used Master Rider was the Special Power Rangers. Then it got a full season. Also, I have to say this for all you like old heads. I am Amazon. Like,
Yeah.
all you old heads know exactly what I just did.
Yep. That 90s
Well, as
Master
long as
Race.
we're dropping quotes, from the new one, that was probably my favorite line. Has got to be, "We work for an intergalactic war criminal. You're going to have to narrow it down." I loved that.
I'm sorry, but as soon as I said that, I'd be like, did the writer like watch Batman Beyond before writing that line? Like, I'm sorry, like, do you have any idea of how little that narrows it down? Like, that is like that's a Batman Beyond meme.
And I hate that it's a meme because that's a really dramatic.
That's a
line.
dramatic line.
But that was the best part, though. That whole series, that is, and I knew a lot of people were going to call that out, but the entire Power Rangers special, they dropped. I counted 7 memes that they
Right,
dropped
what
in that.
What memes did they drop?
There was the catch these hands. There was oof. There was
Vibe.
like they dropped. Huh?
Vibe coming in clutch.
Yeah. Like I said, they did. Let's see. That brings us up to 5. I can't remember the other 2 right offhand. But the point is,
they did drop cringe. I think they did drop at least the word cringe once.
Yep.
Yep, that's 6. That's 6. What was that
And
last
then Kat said something too, and I can't remember what it was now, but she said something during the final battle before they got into the Megazord.
Oh, I can't get ready for. Oh, take the shot, something like that.
Just something like that, yeah.
I
it-
really would have. Okay. Here's what I like. If they would have had Amy Jo Johnson in there, when she would have gotten into it, gotten into the Zord, I would have had her say, "You took out the stereo. Where's the stereo?"
To be perfectly honest, though, there is like 0 chance that we're not gonna see some really funny clipped overdubs. You know. And I guarantee you, at least 30,000 of them are going to be yelling Leroy Jenkins right before somebody dies or gets hit.
Oh, God.
Oh, they're gonna get a Trini edit. At least she had.
Yeah, that's pretty much where I'm going with that, and I'm not sorry.
You know, there's a 33.3 repeating, of course, chance that she dead.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that episode. That was during that one TMNT where they brought the 5th Ninja Turtle, the girl one.
Yeah, that was a crossover between Next Mutation and In Space, which I don't know. It's just there's just something about Power Rangers, and it's kind of like a passing of the torch almost.
I thought the episode was mid. Looking back, I thought that episode was mid. Like, it didn't really go anywhere.
You talking about the Ninja Turtles Next Mutation crossover?
Yeah, I felt like it was just a generic. It was a glorified filler episode.
I mean, it kind of was.
Yeah,
it was pretty much banging out the fact that you had these 2 massive franchises crossing over.
It's kind of like it's kind of like King Kong Godzilla versus King Kong. That is
That's not a fair comparison, man.
No, it's the same basic principle. They were doing new Godzilla movies, and they got the rights to use King Kong, so they were going to amp it up. The whole point was to get people of all walks of life interested in this, and nothing brings in money like a crossover.
Oh, it was a marketing ploy. No one's going to refute that. But
the thing is, the MonsterVerse, if we're going to talk about the MonsterVerse, I think, like, out of all we're going to create our own connected universe, I think that's the only one outside the MCU that actually kind of worked.
Oh, I agree.
Yep.
And I'm really upset that it hasn't kept going.
Hey, you're talking about the Ninja Turtles crossover. My problem with that was they didn't actually use the individual personalities of the turtles. And like, I really hated the part where Donatello was like, you expect a turtle who lives in a sewer to explain a cosmic event? It's like, he'd be all over that stuff in the old show.
Yeah, Leo would be the one leading the charge.
I mean, if you're gonna do it right. Like, they literally all act the same, and people always say that about the turtles, but it's
Also-
never been true, except in that.
No, they have very distinct personalities. Okay, the turtles are like the Robins in a way.
And that's
Leo
a
is
good
Dick-
crossover. Batman
Yes.
and Ninja Turtles.
Leo
That
is
did work out very well.
Leo is Dick
I also
Grayson.
like the Ghostbusters Ninja Turtle crossover. I got the comic books for that.
I forgot about that one. God, that was a
That
good
was really
crossover.
awesome.
But to get back to my point, you had Dick Grayson as Leonardo, Raphael as Jason Todd, Tim Drake as Donatello, and I guess and Michelangelo as Damian Wayne. Same premise. The youngest has the most potential, but he's too young. But and Last Ronin definitely proved that. But that is a dynamic comparison. But Damian and Michelangelo are nothing alike.
So, guys, I have a question. Should we bring Nyx in to let her rant?
Please.
Yes.
All right. The tribe has spoken. Let's see here.
I'm going to mute and I'm going to listen.
Nyx, check your DMs. Twitter DMs. Check your Twitter DMs. So, have you guys seen like some of the other crossover partners have done, like with Street Fighter?
A little bit, yeah.
I thought that was promo footage.
Oh, okay.
No, it happened in the video game that Battle for the Grid.
They did do a YouTube thing with it, but Nyx answered the call real quick. So, everyone, Nyx has the floor. Nyx, go for it.
Okay, so I actually ended up missing out really bad when they first did the crossover. I didn't see it. I kind of just brushed Saban's take on the Turtles under the rug for the longest
It's okay.
time.
We're giving you the floor, Nyx. It's okay.
But I don't know really how to say it properly, I guess. But I watched it later on. Oh my god. Absolutely terrible crossover. I hate it.
Yeah, why did you hate it?
They didn't get any of the Turtles right, but that's just Saban's take on them. They're all hardy dudes, which was only ever really Michelangelo's thing. Like everyone's been saying, the Turtles all had very unique, diverse personalities. And that, along with their colored bandanas, helped to kind of give away who was who. Saban didn't do that. They gave them all the same personality, which is stupid.
Yeah.
And then you have I don't even know what was really going on with the Rangers because that kind of wasn't my thing at the time. But to bring the Turtles in, then have them for a good majority of the time just fight the Power Rangers because one, they were under a spell or something, and then just kind of I do not have the words.
Okay, just use whatever words come to you.
Absolute massacre on my boys.
Yes.
Yes. Now, I probably shouldn't say this. But I'm past the point of no return. Which was a worse massacre, Saban's TMNT or Velma?
Velma
by a long shot. At least Saban's TMNT looked like they were supposed to.
Nyx?
Yeah.
Did you hear my question? Okay.
So,
Velma versus next mutation. Go.
guys, just
Okay. Let's cut back.
I can't believe it, but I think they're...
It's the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
You know, one thing I hated? Why is it that they know the turtles, but the turtles think the Power Rangers don't exist when it's the other way around? Turtles hid in the sewers. Power Rangers are these public figures destroying half the city every day.
An interesting choice.
Yeah.
Because I don't think whoever wrote it had actually seen the Ninja Turtles. I know it was different actors from the actual Next Mutation, and they filmed it. I think they filmed Next Mutation in Canada, and they filmed this in LA. Like, it was not a real crossover because very little people from the other show were involved, and the tone is totally different.
So they just shipped down the suits for a week, basically.
Basically, yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah, and if you measure if the actor that played Next Mutation Raphael stood next to the crossover Raphael, he's literally like 4 inches taller. It's hilarious.
Wow.
It was okay. The best way to describe this was literally publicity or marketing, or pretty much a crossover gone bad. That's really the cleanest way to say it. I'm not gonna. You could easily play this off as a filler episode. It's completely skippable. Maybe like one reference to Dark Spectre at the very end, if I'm remembering it right.
Yeah,
I don't think it's unwatchable. It's just lame, but I do like that technically you can count 2 episodes as TMNT crossover, which I think makes In Space the season with the most crossovers, kind of, because it was basically the 5th anniversary series unofficially.
Pretty much.
Yeah, because they didn't really start doing team ups until Lost Galaxy in Space. Like, there was some team ups, like you had Ranger 2 Worlds where they teamed up with the Alien Rangers. Because here's the thing, Toei themselves didn't really start doing crossover movies again until O-Ranger and Cocker Ranger, and so and because they mostly use the footage. And I'm actually surprised. Like, one of the things about the Disney era that I gotta give credit for, they actually continued the tradition of team ups for at least a couple of years. Like, by the time they got to In Space, they kind of stopped doing it. But like probably one of my favorite team ups is probably Dino Thunder and Ninja Steel. Like, I think that's a really good one. Like, I think they did a really good job of balancing both teams.
In Space kind of started it because
True Blue to the Rescue, which aka the best time Justin was ever written,
and the Delta Discovery where they brought back the Phantom Ranger.
Well,
Like,
I'll say though, Tommy showing up in SPD is still my favorite. Like that was
Tommy
really
never showed up in SPD.
No.
Jeffrey. Oh, okay. If you're talking about the crossover, the second Dino Thunder crossover they did, that was actually Jeffrey Paizo, the White Ranger, doing that voice.
Yep.
Okay.
That was
Like, you saw the suit, you all saw his suit, and the character was there, but Jeffrey Paizo was doing the voice.
But even in Dino Thunder, Ninja Storm is arguably my favorite. Thanks, Skyhound. But during Dino Thunder, there was a mini art where Tommy is still stuck in his Ranger form. That was because Tommy wanted to go on a quick vacation to see and spend time with his family for about, I think it was a month and a half.
Roughly, yeah.
And they just made a mini arc out of that. And I think it,
I think it worked. Honestly, I think. And then you got like that kind of thing where like he's fighting his old forms. I thought that was actually a really good episode.
Yeah, Fighting Spirit. That was like the climax of it because he was invisible for a while. It's like he couldn't be morphed, and then he was invisible, and they made it like psychological that like he had to fight his old forms, and they made it like a self-acceptance thing, which was actually.
And then that's how he got his Super Dino mode. Which, okay, yeah, I think that works.
Well, they gave him almost like a midlife crisis arc, even though he's way too young. He's like 25, but they basically did the.
Given everything Tommy's been through, I think it was warranted.
Yeah,
like, I feel like In Space had like some of the best kind of like one-off kind of crossovers. Like, for example, Always a Chance, where they brought back Adam and like he used his Mighty Morphin Morpher. I thought that was a really good episode.
Settle something in my head. Is Andros a leader, or is he the mentor and TJ is a leader?
He's both.
He's both.
He's both.
As far as In Space is concerned, he is both.
Because In Space was about the Rangers growing up and Go ahead, Geek. Go ahead, Bubba.
Oh, sorry. I was just saying, am I the only one who wants that wreck that Rita Repulsa had the Power Rangers toys? That, like put the little lizard snakes around it and everything. That'd be a great prop to have.
But okay. I have
about Andros.
okay, but yeah, thank you. In Space was mostly about the adults. I mean, the Rangers coming to their own as adults, and it was supposed to be a big last hurrah. So Andros definitely works as a pseudo mentor, or at least dynamic wise, but he's more of a mentor than he is a leader. Imagine Jaden.
No, he's both. He's both. He is very.
I mean,
both.
Yeah, structure wise is both. But if you're actually factoring Andros' personality, especially in the beginning, he was more of a mentor than a leader. That's what I'm saying. Imagine Jaden and Samurai, but reverse.
Yeah,
he also had a bit of the Sixth Ranger and kind of the Lone Wolf outsider. He's like 4 different characters smushed together. I think that's
because Zane was happy-go-lucky.
Six Rangers, I actually got to feel like the Silver Ranger from the season is very, like, when we talk about like best Six Rangers, he is very underrated. Like I feel like he actually had a lot to do in that season, and I actually kind of liked his like love arc with Kendricks a little bit. I mean, I'm with Corone.
I want to know what the other 4 morphers were for. Who had them? Like at the time as a kid, I always just assumed that the other 4 were dead, but that was like an assumption in my head. Like, well, they can't say.
I mean, that's a fair assumption given how what's the Silver Ranger's name?
Zane.
Is it how Zane was injured like that? I think that's a pretty fair extrapolation to make, especially how like he's resistant to having teammates. I think that's a fair. Thing,
yeah,
you know,
I feel like that would be a good like Boom comic because my favorite of Boom comics are these like graphic novels where they go back to the show continuity.
Soul of the Dragon is
yep. Oh yeah, that's what his son could be in the new thing. He was like an SPD green with the dragon armor.
Pretty much. I actually read. Go ahead, Nick.
Well, you got to realize that's a little bit far in the future.
Yeah, it's about 2038, roughly.
Yeah, like, because I think like JJ is probably at least 10 years old, like, because JJ existed during the Ninja Steel one.
Dimensions in Danger, I think it was.
I think he was born around the time of the Legendary War. I gotta say, maybe I don't know.
Well, what I was thinking was they could just do the same thing they did with SPD, time skip it since. That'd be a little weird now if they're new because the Netflix shows are going to take a year or 2 to make anyway. That seems but
why would you skip
it during SPD? Just skip ahead and make it in the future.
The thing is, we actually talked about this with Ron. See, the Ranger actors are in their 50s, and they were actually kind of portrayed to be like 40s or 50s in the episode. If you did that, you're basically putting them in their late 50s, early 60s. And that's kind of a little bit too old to be like in the field. Mentor, sure. But if you want to actually have the Rangers be Rangers and not just do like a power transfer, which I'm sorry, that's just not going to work.
Yeah, I agree.
I feel like this episode actually serves well for as a backdoor pilot for a new series.
Wow, like, I got the opposite impression. I took it as a series finale.
Well, it could be both. It's closure if you want an epilogue / season finale, but if you want more, it could be used as a backdoor pilot.
They put a lot of work into like reestablishing the world of Mighty Morphin. Like, I feel like they put a lot of effort into where's everyone doing, what's everyone up to, and like, oh, they got a new Ranger on the team, that kind of thing. Like, see, the hardest problem is if you're going to do a full series. How are you going to do this without the Green Ranger?
That's why it's better to do like Forrester suggested, do it like a 15-year time skip, new actors, and just start fresh with either go the JJ route or Jason David Frank's daughter, or just have both of them on the team. I think that would be the best way to go about it, and just adapt Soul of the Dragon.
That's sort of my idea. What I was thinking is to do kind of like what Boom already does, and like Forever Red and crossovers we've seen where like old Rangers are still active, and maybe you even like cycle through who's doing what, and rather than having a single team.
Power See, there's a problem with the with the Power Rangers franchise, and I just literally just showed why. Power Rangers, like most Power Ranger fans, only know Mighty Morphin. Like there are so many people, like you tell them, like, oh, Power Rangers is still going on. Oh, there's 20 teams. Wow, like that is still like there are so many people who believe that Mighty Morphin ended with season 3.
Yep, agreed.
And that's why the season, the special was so successful. And that's why I hesitant against just doing a time skip, because if you want this to be successful, you have to hit that nostalgia. And to do that, you need to have the original actors being the Rangers. You know, maybe bring it, like, Latrini's thing was fine because, you know, she had passed on. And that worked. But, like, you can't really replace the whole team with new people.
The only way that would work is if you did animation and then you had the original team, the original cast come back to do voiceovers. That was literally
that's not going to get your wide appeal. Like,
they could have the original Rangers come back and play mentor for the first half of the first season. Like they could make them work for it.
That second half is going to drop off so quickly, and people know that. This is what I'm trying to say is, you need to have them at least for the first season be the Rangers. Because if you want that wide appeal, you have to hit the nostalgia. And if you're going to just do a Mandalorian bait and switch, like a season 3 style bait and switch, like you're just going to have people drop off because people are tuning in to see Billy again, to see Zach again. You know,
I agree with that, but I don't see why you couldn't mix it up a little, have Billy or Zach or somebody there to represent the original franchise, and then have actors from other seasons to stretch the numbers out.
Megaforce tried that.
Exactly. Like, makes all of season 1 nostalgia the show. Like, literally, you know, they're training these new kids. They come in. They're constantly there. It doesn't always have to be the same ones every time. We can show them do training classes.
No.
I don't think new kids, but I think you could have someone like Billy or Zach coordinating, and they could bring veterans from other seasons, and I don't think it would drive away people if they're still the ones there coordinating, and they can sort of introduce the people who don't.
That's not going to work because people are tuning in for David Yost, for Walter Jones, and Austin St. John if you can get him, or Amy Jo Johnson if you can get her. Those are the people they're tuning in for. They're tuning in to relive their youth. If you're doing a new series, you'll probably appeal to Power Ranger fans. And I'll be honest, what you're describing, I would watch it, but I'm a Power Ranger fan. Like, if they want the big target demographic, I think probably the best approach is probably to Cobra Kai this shit.
That is a high risk, high reward scenario. Trying to make.
I think you guys are kind of leaning into that concept a little bit. I'll be honest, but the thing is, Cobra Kai still actually had storylines with the main people. And they're all intersecting. So probably what I would suggest is you bring back, but you also have their kids kind of dealing with it. Kind of thing.
Well, shows are still going to have guest stars. Like what you're describing could still have crossover appearances.
Like, for example, I could just see an episode where Jen shows up, because, maybe you have Wes and Jen show up. Because, Jen is actually a pretty important figure in the greater Power Ranger mythos, let's be honest.
Okay, they would never do this, but this would be an ideal scenario. You adapt the Boone comics, a complete, basically that route where it's.
I'm sorry, without Jason David Frank, you can't do live action Shattered Grid. I'm sorry.
Well, but what they could do, like I said, if all of season 1, if by the end of season 1 they finally resurrected or found Zordon wherever he's at, that could literally be what brings everybody together if they're trying to resurrect him.
Yeah, and I could see Andros popping up. Also, this idea of the residual evil energy kind of existing out there could actually be a great hook for a new series. Imagine the energy kind of attaches itself to Corone again, and or something.
That'll be a little forced, but I see where you're going with it.
Or you just get a fully robotic astronomer. Or I don't know.
With the franchise this big, you could also use previous actors, not even necessarily Rangers, anytime there's a side character required for something.
Yeah, Aaron
You need like
Cahill
a
would come back.
businessman or a scientist or whatever, instead of just casting a one-time only like most shows do. You get somebody that the right fans will get it, no one else needs to know.
Yeah, like as far as people. Sorry, Bubba, your audio is just too terrible. I had to mute you. When it's back ready, let me know in private chat. I'm sorry. It was getting too bad. But yeah, like I can see, like Aaron Cahill showing up. Like I'm sure he would have like any of the Time Force people would probably have no problem coming back. Like just imagine, like I could see Carter Grayson coming back. Like,
Yep. And maybe Dana. Like if you had to have a doctor in a scene, it could be Dana from Lightspeed and things like that. They wouldn't
or even if they wanted dimensional hop, they could get Dr. K to come back.
Yeah, for like a science. Like, what is Dr. K? She's just
RPM.
No, I know she's RPM. I don't know what she's supposed to be as a genius. She's just genius.
She's a child prodigy, and she was raised by like a think tank government program kind of thing.
Yeah.
Also,
spandex.
guys,
I can't do the voice. I can't do the voice.
Geek here, Bubba has to drop out. So yep, Bubba, thanks for coming on. We appreciate it. Yeah, sorry, he was having some audio issues. So, but yeah, I'm trying to think of like other characters that would be kind of cool to come back. I gotta say this, Gia from Megaforce. I actually wouldn't mind her coming back because out of all the actors, she's like one of the ones who actually had charisma, and she's actually come back like once or twice. And yeah, I wouldn't mind her coming back.
Yeah, but I was never able to prove this, but I have seen multiple sources saying that the Megaforce cast did not get along with each other. The actor who played Troy had a big ego. Blue and Black were indifferent. Gina was like or at least Gina was the most likable out of all of them.
What's funny is Gina actually is friends with Yoshi Shirato. You know, like everyone's favorite fanboy.
Huh.
By the way, did you know that Yoshi actually got a cameo in, and I'm going to say this very slowly, and Jay will realize why I'm doing this. Ninja.
Yeah, I remember that.
I said that very slowly, Jay, so please.
Oh boy.
Just in case people need clarification.
Oh yeah, I was afraid of like, you know. Okay, anyway.
Demonetized.
It's okay, Bubba. We understand. We appreciate you stopping by. So,
I was gonna say, as kind of a Power Rangers casual, I would definitely I definitely watched the show you guys were picking up, honestly. I mean, my only real experience with Power Rangers was, as I've said on Twitter, the Mighty Morphin movie, because I owned it on VHS as a kid, and that was my gateway into the rest of the franchise.
Yeah, you can actually watch Power Rangers on YouTube. They got like most of the seasons on YouTube if you want to watch them.
Is it old that I remember my VHS as a kid and just rewinding and playing videos over and over again? I have fond memories of VHS.
Oh! If you want to talk about like old VHSs, kind of give me a sec. I'm gonna go grab some stuff. You guys talk about
Karate Club. Anybody remember that?
Oh God, I remember that. I forgot about that for the longest time.
Yeah, more phenomenal. And he kept wobbling between. I didn't know if he was supposed to be Jason Frank or Tommy. He switched between the two as he's doing the karate class.
Multiple times. Oh, there was a sandwich shop billboard. There was the Bulk and Skull. They didn't directly appear, but there were visuals resembling Bulk and Skull. That would have been a nice touch.
Are you guys ready for a hit of nostalgia?
Depends.
I just grabbed some of my VHS.
Oh my God.
All right. So we got Digimon.
Yep, season 2.
the original cut of Star Wars.
Oh,
This is, by the way, for all the nerds out there, this is the '84 release. It's not the original, but it's still the original cut. But this is like an older printing of it. So just for all of your old heads out there.
Nice.
I found this at a thrift store, and the title was so ridiculous I had to buy it.
Bambi.
I know that. I love that. It's like a minute long. I laugh every time.
By the way, this is going to really hit you in the nostalgia.
Oh, God.
Oh, God. Psychic Surprise. I remember that arc. Oh, God.
Yes, this is like, okay, and then
the very fact that are you done?
Yes.
The very fact that Gargoyles was canceled is a crime against humanity. I still say that to this day.
Absolutely.
It really got screwed over because, like, by the time they did the Goliath Chronicles, they really kind of had retooled it. It was like nothing like it was. It's just
so many of those good shows get canceled before their time. Absolutely.
Firefly.
Remember when DVD came out and everyone was getting rid of their tapes and you could get them?
Oh, I remember that. I remember bonfires. I remember people grabbing baseball bats and just smashing their VHS. Even taking the cords behind the actual cassette tapes themselves and just ripping them to shreds.
Yep.
The DVD phenomenon, it was not pretty, especially if you were an old head. It was not a healthy time.
You can still get DVDs dirt cheap, like your average DVDs. Like, I know that some VHSs are like really expensive, but like if you just go to like a thrift store or like an old Christian thrift store, they still have like VHSs for like a penny a pop or whatever.
I'll tell you something terrible I did with VHS as a kid. I saw the box for Akira, and this was right after Batman Beyond came out, and I'd heard the guy in Suncoast videos saying that he hated Batman Beyond because, like those Gen X teen 20-somethings, everything sucked. And he was like,
okay.
That's for kids. That's gay. It's all just an Akira ripoff. So Akira stuck in my head. I'm like, okay, I want to find out if this is true. So I'm in the thrift store, and there's the Akira, and it's R-rated. And there's no way my mother would buy that. But she would buy Little Mermaid. So I switched the tapes and the boxes.
Oh, my God.
Okay, who hasn't done that at least once?
Yes,
or
no,
even better,
somebody went out there and they thought they were getting Akira and got Little Mermaid. This year, I actually made a Christmas ornament. They had these ornaments of like Disney VHS tapes. So I actually bought the Little Mermaid VHS and then printed off the computer a little, and cut it out a little Akira label and put it in. So now on my Christmas tree, there's Akira in the Little Mermaid box.
Oh my God. Or like, do you guys ever, as a kid, when you're trying to get your mom to let you buy a parental advisory, did you hold it up to them with like your finger over the parental advisory, hoping they wouldn't see it?
Yeah. I've never done that, but I know of people who did. I saw that when I was actually working at the store, but by 2007, the register would flag it anyway.
Yeah.
Like, I remember this one mother was buying Assassin's Creed for her, 10-year-old, and she was acting like it was for her, but it was so obvious she didn't care about the game. And I just went ahead and made the sale anyway. According to store policy, I was supposed to have turned it down, but it's like AC1 wasn't really that bad anyway, but...
It really wasn't.
I mean, and then you have legions of mothers, they buy GTA for their kid, and then they get mad at the store like, why would you sell my child this garbage?
You're the one who bought it. I'm like, okay, people...
Legally, I cannot sell that game to your child.
My dad would read these, really moral panic right-wing news sites back in the 2000s.
Oh, my God.
And he'd get
Mortal
emails.
Kombat got it pretty bad, too.
He'd get emails.
Mass Effect is a sex simulator that allows you to have sex in any position imaginable.
Yes, and he got this email, and he was just, in a huff. He was furious. He's like, what games... You don't play Assassin's Creed, do you? And I'm like, what's that? And he's like... And he reads me the email tagline, and it says, new video game where you play as a Muslim and kill as many Christians as possible before the clock runs out.
I mean, we've gone off the deep end a long time ago.
Oh,
Fox
my God.
did it for real. Fox did it again. Fox did it in 2012 when the DLC pack of The Tyranny of King Washington came out. They said French game developer depicts George Washington as a tyrant to be assassinated.
Or even like, I'm sorry, but I also gotta give a shout out to. Oh my God! I was ranked in GTA Online.
Oh God.
Oh,
I have to say this. Fuck Sam Max. Fuck you.
Wait, is this the
So-
one who kept always saying, "Don't if you don't like my books, don't buy them"?
No, that's a Captain Marvel person.
Oh, okay. It still applies though. Still applies.
So
That's
this is
Kelly
a true
Sue
story.
DeConnick.
I've talked about it a bit on Twitter, but my grandmother, because I grew up with her for the majority of my life up until I was around 15 or 16, about to turn 16, back when I was like, I don't know, somewhere around 12, 13, 14, she went out one day while I was at school and bought me Dead or Alive Extreme 2 for the Xbox 360.
Oh my god.
Ooh.
Because all she really knew about it at the time when she bought it was that it was an anime game, quote unquote, and she thought it would be up my alley. Then I was like, oh, that's cool, thanks. She takes the box from me and reads it out in front of I can't really say grandfather, in front of her second husband. And if you have ever read the back of the box for Dead or Alive Extreme 2, then you know how fucking embarrassing that's going to be.
What?
Yeah.
You don't want a sexy party?
But,
Nick, there's
my
a
younger
lady
cousin-
present, for God's sake.
Oh, this
My younger
lady's
cousins
filthy, and
and
she'll
I
admit it.
used to play it quite a bit. My male younger cousin and I would always turn the boob physics up to 100 because we thought it was hilarious.
So the balls weren't the only thing that was bouncing.
Yeah. And my female
Yep, we're
younger
getting
cousin
demonetized.
I don't
basically
care.
just wanted to use the slide mini game every time we pulled it out. And I was
That's
like,
what she said.
really? You want to play this game? This is the game you want me to let your kids play? To my aunt. I was like, all right, whatever. But like, she let me play this game with them, but not like Left 4 Dead because it was
Obviously.
Oh, so you want to hear like about bad parental censorship? So it's like the mid to late 90s, and I think we're at a video store, and I'm trying to choose between two movies. I'm trying to choose between Mortal Kombat, the movie, and Street Fighter, the movie, okay? So my dad would not let me watch Street Fighter because, and I quote, I heard there was cursing in it. But he let me rent Mortal Kombat, which I don't know if you guys know this. Mortal Kombat is a lot more violent than Street Fighter.
But it has less cursing.
Which
true.
is all he cared about. I'm sorry. It's
You
just
see the
like,
gore and the guts. You can't have any naughty words.
yeah, like here's the thing that always kind of like the difference between like censorship in America versus censorship in the UK. So in America, you can show the most gratuitous violence imaginable. Dare show a nipple. But in the UK, it's reversed. Like, you can show boobs on kids' television, but you can't have them have a paper cut.
Yeah, censorship regulations are weird. But
Yeah.
this actually reminds me of a story. Now, this is arguably one of the worst things I've ever done. But it was my little cousin's birthday. She's like a sister to me. And she wanted
be
and
happy.
she wanted
Be happy.
and I think it was a My Little Pony movie that was coming out.
What?
Yeah, that was on Blockbuster. God, I remember Blockbuster. But
Supposedly he's making a comeback.
well, supposedly. And I wanted to watch the new Mortal Kombat movie that was coming out around the same time. So I, like Forrester, I swapped the tapes. The clerk knew what I was doing. I got busted almost immediately. I'm like, if you pay this fee up top, I'll let you walk away with that. I mean, he knew I was gonna get busted, but
like,
it was worth it.
He's like, I'm gonna shake you down, kid. I have to.
Yeah, no, he actually let me buy it. But I had to pay the full price fee because he wouldn't let me do it because My Little Pony was like a $7 difference. So he would let me get away with swapping the tapes. I just had to pay the full price. And it was about 15, 20 something, I want to say. But I got home. I think this was on her birthday, and she wanted to see it with me because we were always close. And I had to expose her to Mortal Kombat 2, and I'm like, I am definitely dealing in buyer's remorse right now. I'm just waiting to get busted at this point. I think I scarred her for life.
or like it's the 90s.
But come on, it's Mortal Kombat. Could you blame me?
Here's a scenario that I think any 90s kid would be familiar with. So it's the weekend. Your mom's having her best friend come over. She lets you have your friend come over for a sleepover. You guys go into Blockbuster or any rental place. She says you can get a movie and a game. Your mom disappears for a little while. You can't see. You get your games, and she kind of comes out of the back. She's got her thing, and she tells you, "Okay, so remember this tonight. You can have the video games up as loud as you want. In fact, I encourage it. Just don't bother me." Who all remember those situations?
Come on, let's be honest with ourselves.
Mommy had some. Mommy wasn't the. You were the only one that had fun that weekend. Mommy had some fun of her own.
You dirty bastard.
I actually had a bit of a different experience. My grandmother really liked to throw parties, especially like in the summer. We had a really nice deck over a fairly big pond. And she'd let me invite a friend over and watch a movie, and they could have a sleepover. And she didn't care how loud we were because they were going to be hooting and hollering outside, so didn't make a difference.
There'd be some hooting and hollering, all right.
Nick.
Everyone was always like drunk, and there was always loud music. So she's like, I don't really care what you do. Just, don't get anyone hurt. Don't die. And, go to bed at a reasonable time.
And by reasonable, I mean any time before 3 a.m.
Yeah, basically.
If the sun is up and you're not in bed, you're in trouble.
Yeah, basically.
In Ryu's dungeon, we do not sound like hippies.
Yeah, true.
I'm not even going to dignify that one with response.
If one of your mates don't go home in an ambulance giving you the thumbs up, then you did not have a party.
It's kind of funny because those parties are actually where I ended up getting into the not Rankin Bass, the animated Lord of the Rings.
So the Rankin Bass Lord of the Rings.
Not Rankin Bass.
Ralph Bakshi.
Ralph Bakshi, yes, thank you.
Oh, I thought that was a Rankin Bass.
I think the sequels were.
Yeah.
Huh.
Because it's an interesting story behind that, actually. They really screwed the man over on that.
God, we're old.
I never
I do like watching that just because I know for a fact Jack Kirby and Osamu Tezuka saw it in the theater. So,
wow.
Yeah. I don't know what they thought of it. I just know that they both went.
A random fact I know is what's his name? Kevin Feige actually went and saw Power Rangers 2017. I remember when around the time the movie came out, it was actually posted that he went and saw it. So that's just a random fact for you.
And Power Rangers 2017 wasn't that bad. It was just buried in product placement. It was just in a very cheap production.
Basically, the common criticism for 2017 is it's an hour and a half John Hughes wannabe teen movie with a half an hour Power Ranger episode tacked on at the end.
Yep, that's the best way to describe it.
Yep, that's what I was about to say. I I like The Breakfast Club, but then you beat me to it before I could make my dig.
And it's and the thing is, it was well casted. Just look at for example, the Red Ranger went on to go into Stranger Things. The Black Ranger went on to be in Mortal Kombat, and then the Pink Ranger went on to Aladdin. Becky G's Becky G.
That's the problem. They're not getting any of them back. They wrote themselves into a corner there.
Yeah. One and done.
If they had signed him to a 3-picture deal, then done this movie, and then they gone on blown up, they kind of would just be like, oh, we got you for these 2 pictures still. That's how you should do it, but they kind of, like you said, they screwed him.
Mm-hmm.
So, as someone who hasn't seen the movie, was it worth going to see it, or?
I saw it in theaters, and for what it's worth, I enjoyed myself, but it's kind of forgettable, honestly.
I recently rented it for my review with Nick, and even I've forgotten just about half of what went on in that movie.
It kind of falls in that pit where it's not bad, and it's definitely
But it's not good either.
Yeah, like it's not bad enough to be memorable, but it's not good enough to like have you care.
Okay, which would you
The
say is
Mighty
better?
Morphin reigns supreme.
Yeah.
Even Turbo is at least. I think Turbo kind of falls into the so bad it's good kind of category.
Pretty much. It does explain why Rocky's not on the team anymore. So,
like, at least Turbo is entertaining. Like, at least it entertains you. Like, at least it does that.
I didn't see it. I saw clips of it, and I could tell what each little bit of it was spliced from, and the setting looked like Twilight. Power Rangers was supposed to be sunny California.
Yeah.
God,
I think Angel Grove was supposed to be like an old mining town or something.
That's dumb.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be like copyright safe LA. Come on.
Well,
of course you went to Krispy Kreme afterward. You couldn't. Nothing else was in your head.
I always imagine Angel Grove as kind of like copyright free Pasadena or some other like coastal California town or whatever.
Turbo never explained why they did to Zia Bar. Nick just mentioned there was supposed to be a deleted scene to explain that, but
yeah, I did mention that like 20 minutes ago or so ago. But yeah, but as far as we know, the Zeo powers still existed. Tommy used them in Forever Red, and he used as part of his Master Morpher. Yeah, it's like I really feel like with Goldar, like, oh, he's gold. He's Goldar. He's gold. That's going to be his entire character. He's gold.
Goldar had no personality in that film. I don't even.
But I will say this: Elizabeth Banks knocked it out of the park as Rita. Like,
she was the best performance out of the whole thing.
Like, she knew exactly what movie she was in.
Okay, who do you think carried it more, Elizabeth Banks in 2017 or Mr. Ooze in 1995?
I would say Elizabeth Banks, because 2017 still had a pretty good cast. Like, you still had the Rangers, which they're charismatic enough and whatnot. Like honestly, 1995 had a pretty good cast. Like, it was pretty stacked.
Banks was fine. Goldar was a mindless kaiju, pretty much. There's no denying that.
I'm just going to continue to stew in my preference of the 1995 movie.
Oh, we're saying it's good. We're saying 1995 is probably the best of the bunch, to be fair. So,
I mean, like I said, I'm a casual when it comes to it, but like, even from like just an average moviegoer, like for me, because I remember it so fondly from my childhood, like I must have watched that thing 100 times. My copy of the movie got so worn down in certain scenes, which was not fun for me, but like I can remember so much about the movie vividly as if I just watched it yesterday. And I feel like that's the mark of a good movie. Or maybe not great, but like if it's memorable enough that I can still like remember the lines and scenes.
A job well done.
Yeah, exactly.
Actually, I will say I prefer the Sega Genesis Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie. That game is a lot better. Fight me.
Like the fact that they found Ivan Ooze in a giant purple egg just because they were like doing construction over like this one random area. That scene actually kind of freaked me out a little.
I guess you could say that was an excellent way of going about it.
Yeah, having Rita and Lord Zed.
It's good to be the king.
Was kind of memorable.
Yeah.
So many double entendres during the Ooze montage.
I liked the practical effects because
they were excellent.
And that already had CG with the Zords. Like that was a transition piece. Like that was in '95, and that type of filmmaking was about to die forever. It was already dying in that movie because the climax was CG.
Bubba,
on that one planet was pretty cool.
Bubba, 1v1 me, bro. Final destination, no items. Or facility, slappers only. Your move, creep.
I'm not getting in this. I liked both consoles. I'm not trying to start a gaming war. Sony and Microsoft do that for me.
Adam got a kiss from a pretty woman. That was kind of a W.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
What?
Yeah, when they get their ninja powers, she goes through and what's her name? I can't remember.
Dulcia.
Dulcia, yeah. She goes through and she gives them like a basic rundown of their new powers. And then she gets to Adam and he's sulking. So she's like, Adam, what's wrong? He's like, I'm a frog.
Fun fact, that scene was improvised.
I don't doubt it. It seems
And a
sometimes-
certain actress from not NCIS, from what's that show?
Law and Order SVU.
Thank you. Was supposed to be was supposed to play that role, but she backed out.
Well, not she backed out. It's if she left production. They actually filmed scenes there. Okay, Matriska Hardingay, who's like the lead person on SVU, was the original Dulcia.
Damn.
Did you guys know that?
No, I
I
didn't.
remembered it. I knew it and then forgot it. But now that you say it, I remember it.
Yeah,
I think Bubba's trying to start a console war with you, Nick.
I must resist temptation. I must resist. I've gotten into way too many fights, flat fights, so it's like,
So what is this, an Anakin Skywalker situation?
No! Bubba, this is what I have to say to you regarding your Super Nintendo.
I regret nothing.
Okay, I do have one minor nitpick about Once and Always, and I'll admit I'm like probably the only person that would make this nitpick, and I know I'm being petty, but the rebuilt sets like the juice bar and all look really, really clean and pristine for something that's been there 30 plus years.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing you got to realize. That is not the original juice bar, because in space it became the surf shaft.
Surf spot, yeah.
So probably this is probably what happened. Okay, someone probably came in and reopened the juice bar. Like, let's say it's Ernie's son. Okay, let's say Ernie's son basically reopened the bar in memory of his father, because that's my headcanon anyway. Ernie's son or daughter. And so that's that kind of thing. Yeah. Also, I have something I need to show you guys.
The juice bar was over the top, but I do remember those like publicly or charity funded youth centers existing in the 90s, and like after school programs and stuff being done in cities.
Also,
yes.
I give you that is Matriska Hardingay as Dulcia.
Nice.
Yeah, anyway, you were saying, Forrester?
No, nothing. I was just saying, like, the juice bar is ridiculous, but I do remember, like, commercials. Like, in my area, the Food Bank of Hampton Roads ran one, and they'd advertise it in the daily press and all, like, after-school youth centers, and they'd try to provide, like, activities and things to, like, like, minimize. Yeah, give them something to do, minimize delinquency, stuff like that.
Bubba,
it was part of the 90s charity culture. It's kind of gone now, but
yeah.
Okay, now Bubba's just twisting the knife.
Makes it a little plausible, even though Ernie's place was over the top ridiculous.
That is true.
This is Bubba right now.
This is just what they want. You're playing their game. Then now play dirty.
God, I love Spawn.
Great movie. I don't care what anyone says.
Yeah, but yeah. So what were we going on, Forrester?
Doesn't matter. I'm done. But yeah. I read Spawn's comics at the time. Spawn and Witchblade used to end up in Dollar Tree all the time. I don't know why Image printed so many that ended up in Dollar Trees.
Well, considering that Spawn #1 sold 15 million copies, can you blame them?
Yeah, and Spawn and Batman, which I know people say is a terrible comic. I didn't think so, not at the time.
Wait,
actually,
it's
I
not
own
that
it.
bad.
Yeah, I own it.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you can tell it's very gimmicky. It's a glorified crossover, but the story itself is not that bad.
Well, they printed so many of them. As I said, Dollar Tree, just walk outside and trip over a copy.
Yeah. Like if you go to the restroom in Dollar Tree, they use it as toilet paper. to this very day.
I was such a little kid then. I didn't even realize that, like, Witchblade was a TNA book. Didn't register to me at that age.
Mike Turner drew the best ladies. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but I actually liked the stories and the villains and stuff. Like, I didn't notice Sarah Pez any more than I would have noticed He-Man at that age. Like, went right over my head. But I like.
Forrester, did you ever watch the TNT Witchblade series?
The anime?
No, the live action.
No, I know of it, but I've never seen it.
I own it on DVD. It's actually pretty good.
Okay, I need to see it then.
Yeah, it's live action. It's a little bit toned down. They did 2 seasons of it. Basically, the first season is its own story, and then like the second season, they do kind of like a time travel shenanigans and basically a reboot. I haven't seen the second season, but the first season is pretty good.
Okay.
And this was also during a time where we had very poor to mediocre superhero movies. Like I remember Steel, the Supergirl movie, that other one Shaq was in.
Shazam.
Kazam, thank you.
Shazam, yeah.
Supergirl was terrible, but it was my introduction to the whole genre, so I have a soft spot.
What would you say it was worse, Supergirl or Steel?
I'd say Supergirl because I feel like Steel. They tried. Like I think there's a bit of a
Supergirl looked like crap.
Especially compared to like superhero films of the time, like what the Superman films were doing. Yeah, like even comparing Supergirl to Superman 4, which Superman 4 was an obvious like rush job. It was poorly done. Even that looks so much better than Supergirl.
And there's no excuse because Supergirl came out between Superman 2 and 3. Like
that's the sad thing.
I know.
Oof.
Yeah.
And it's such a good year. 84 is possibly the best year that ever happened. And like Terminator and Ghostbusters and all these Stone Cold classics and Supergirl's in there.
There's actually like when it comes to media, like definitely with video games, certain years just kind of stand out. Like with movies, 99 was a good year. Like 99 was a great year for movies.
Say what you will about the Phantom Menace, but that was a good year for cinema.
Okay, I still like
Matrix.
I'm just going to say I still like
89 was also a really good year for movies.
I actually went and saw the Phantom Menace when it came out in theaters. I would have been like 2 years old.
I did too. My dad took me to see it. I was 12 or 13.
I waited for the
my aunt took me and my older brother to go see it.
I'm still mad that they never released Revenge of the Sith on tape. Like I'm like, why?
It was right at the DVD era.
But the last VHS was actually released in 2006. So like they could have if they wanted to.
It's like there's a Batman Begins that's like super rare promotional tape, but it's real and hard to find.
Oh wow! It really did get released. Wow.
Yep.
Okay, 1990. Oh, you talk. Everyone tries to forget that movie, Bubba.
Oh, 89 Punisher. Is that like the one with Dolph Lundgren?
No, 91 Captain America.
Oh, that I saw that on TV. I know it's terrible.
Oh yeah, I've actually seen like parts of the Hasselhoff agent, like with Marissa Loren or whatever as Black Widow.
It's the
that was a rush job because Rocketeer had come out and they rushed to Captain America like a year or two later. I think it was
pretty much.
Rocketeer
was so good. Oh my god, I love that movie.
Well, they both have the same twist where a bad guy at the end is like, I might be a crook, but I'm all American. Both movies use that.
Pretty much.
Also, it's funny they actually did that comic. Like I don't know if you ever saw like that channel gets posted on Twitter where the Joker is talking to Red Skull, and he realizes that the Red Skull is actually a Nazi, and the Joker literally says, "I may be a villain, but I'm still an American." Like, they even
didn't one comic have Joker do something similar in a dialogue?
Yeah, they did. It's kind of a trope.
That's what I just referenced. By the way, the trope is called "Even Evil Has Standards."
Huh.
Question: is the
TV tropes will
1991
ruin your life.
Captain America the one where he like steals a bike or a car or something from a dude?
Yep.
Yeah, I figured.
And fun fact, Captain Marvel used that same scene.
No! No! No!
Was that where he pretends to be car sick?
I haven't seen the Captain America movie. I've only seen clips of it.
You know, I almost mentioned it when I mentioned Supergirl, because when I think about it, I can't remember which one I saw first.
Now, if we're going to
but-
talk about crappy comic movies in the 90s, we got to talk about the Roger Corman Fantastic Four.
Oh yes.
But that's unreleased. I don't count that.
Well, it's a release / unreleased. If you
All
know
right,
what it
here's
was.
one I bet nobody else remembers. David Hasselhoff as Nick Fury.
Oh, someone Bubba actually brought that up like 2 minutes ago.
Oh, my bad.
But yeah, I know about it, so.
But okay. Hold on.
I've watched
I got
it,
one-
but wasn't
I got
sure
one
if it
for
was
you.
a Marvel thing or not when I saw it, because they didn't really talk about
The
it. in Marvel
Generation
stuff.
X pilot from the 90s.
Oh.
Or the Doctor Strange TV movie from like the late 70s, early 80s.
Dear God.
God, we're old.
Okay, one that's actually not too bad is 70s Spider-Man.
Oh,
Wait,
the
are you talking
Japanese
about
one.
the
Rudy
live
Papa.
action?
Yeah, the live action, not the Japanese one, but the actual
Okay.
American one. It's actually not bad.
Okay.
Like
Not
did
as
you
good
know-
as the Hulk. I wouldn't say it's good, but like
Yeah, like the Hulk era was actually kind of a boom period for comic book TV because like they were actually trying to make kind of like a prototype MCU. Like there's a version of Iron Man, Daredevil, Thor. Like, have you seen the Iron Man from the Hulk series? Oh my god,
God.
it's bad.
Oh
so
God,
bad.
it looks like a condom.
Well, he offers protection, so
Knock it off.
knock it off before you get knocked up.
I walked right into that.
Yes, you did. You walked right into the condom.
One thing I wish we would have gotten was Nick Cage Superman. I think that would have been like
That
maybe
movie,
not good.
like, have you seen the documentary "The Death of Superman Lives"?
No.
It's a documentary on the making of that movie. Oh my god, you guys need to see it. It's really good.
Wait,
and they're
who's gonna play Superman in Justice League Mortal? Because I thought that was Nicolas Cage too.
all I remember from Justice League Mortal is that Miller, the Mad Max guy, was going to direct it. And honestly, that movie probably was going to be pretty decent.
Probably.
Because Miller is a good director. I think he probably would have done a good job.
Depends on the screenplay, but yeah.
Like, and we're talking about like canceled projects. You guys remember Superman Flyby? That was a Superman product that was being developed in the early 2000s. It was actually supposed to be directed by J.J. Abrams. Fun fact: Henry Cavill actually tried out for that movie, and there is a picture of a suit test from 2002 of him as Superman.
Oh, cool.
Hey, didn't you all know of a Batman Beyond movie that was supposed? I remember a DJ around 2004 saying that the next movie would be called Batman Beyond, and
Yeah,
getting
it was supposed
excited.
It was supposed to
I
take
think-
place during Keaton's era of Batman, and it ultimately got scrapped because they
think
couldn't
I
make the cyberpunk
vaguely
aesthetic
Oh,
work.
remember something about
Yeah, like, did you know, like, at one point they were developing a fourth Batman movie from, like, you know, for Batman and Robin. It was going to be called Batman Unchained. And it was supposed
Batman
to be...
Triumphant.
that? I've heard about that.
No, there's actually another version called Unchained.
Oh.
Where basically they are going to do, like, a trial and bring back, like, Jack Nicholson and, like... It's about, like, that episode of Batman the Animated Series. I remember.
Oh, I
But-
have. Heard
Oh
about
yeah, that episode.
Yeah, like, because I do remember hearing the name Batman Unchained, but also Batman Triumphant, so maybe it's, like, two different versions of the project. But, like, they were kicking around.
Yeah, that is true.
Holy shit.
That is
Why,
true.
though?
Oh, speaking of, like, actors who eventually got the role, did you know that Peter Capaldi tried out to be the Doctor in, like, the Doctor Who special of the 90s and lost out to Paul McGann?
Probably for the best.
Yeah. Also, Amy Adams was actually cast as Lois Lane. Like, she actually tried out for Superman for Lois Lane twice. Like, she was actually casted as Lois Lane in Superman Flyby, and then she was a runner-up for Superman Returns.
And then she finally got it in the Snyderverse, and she's arguably the most mundane Lois Lane of all time.
Oh, I'm sorry. It seems like we've lost the connection to Jay Heat. I think all the cringe seem to have overloaded the bandwidth.
Jared would be Jared. That is for you. That was for you, Jared.
Yes. Wasn't Henry Cavill the backup for Brandon Routh, like the runner-up in Superman Returns, if I remember?
Man, I can't remember. Lord, hold on. I might have to actually look this up.
But yeah, I know he has history with the franchise. Oh, fun. Oh, if we're talking about runners-up, bring this back to Power Rangers. Did you know that Summer Glau was the runner-up for the Yellow Ranger in Wild Force?
What?
Really?
Yeah. And remember, this was around the time. So basically, if she had gotten that role, she would not have starred in that episode of Angel where she got the attention of Joss Whedon. And she would not have done Firefly. Can you imagine? We would have had an entirely different timeline if she had gotten cast because that, like, if she'd not have done that, she would have been cast in all that stuff. Isn't that crazy?
Right place at the right time. And by the way, Jared's in the chat.
Oh.
I know you're trying to save face, buddy, but you're probably grinning to your teeth.
Okay. If you know how there's a superstition where if we say a certain name, Tevye will appear?
Okay.
I am declaring it that if anyone talks about Lois Lane, Jared will appear.
Lois Lane, Lois Lane, Lois Lane, Lois Lane.
Oh, so for those who don't know, Jared is my compatriot from Comics League. He's kind of an asshole, but I love him anyway.
But
I kid.
There's two things that get under his skin: the fact that he's a Lois Lane hater and Wonder Bat. Now, I'm just stating a fact. I'm not saying anything. But if I were, let's just say Nick and Jared would be on poor terms.
Jay, you are on my stream. This is my kingdom. I give you permission to sing the song.
Wonder Bat, Wonder Bat, Wonder Bat, Wonder Bat, Wonder Bat, Wonder Bat, Wonder Wonder Bat, Wonder Bat, Wonder Bat, Wonder Bat, Wonder Bat, Wonder Bat, Wonder.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh my God.
I had permission.
Jared, this is my kingdom. This is my castle. I can do whatever the frick I want.
Begun the ship wars have.
No. This was just, we're having fun in my space. In Jared's space, Wonder Bat does not exist. I respect that.
Okay.
But in my space, Wonder Bat is canon! Forrester and Nix are like, what the hell has happened?
Yeah, I'm oblivious.
I would, okay. Jared is a Superman Wonder Woman fan, and he hates Wonder Bat from the DCU especially.
Gotcha. I didn't like it either that much. But I mean, I already knew the future from Beyond that nothing was going to come of it, so it wasn't that big of a deal. But
yeah, a brief fling at best. But Taladia's having a field day right now.
Oh, I'm actually gonna pull up a short that like I actually had made. Not the one you're thinking of, but
okay.
I thought it would be on here. Okay. So anyway, yes. So what do you guys think of Kamen Rider? Like, what do you guys think about that?
It's great. I have nothing against Kamen Rider.
One of my favorite franchises.
All right. So what's some of your favorite riders?
We went over this earlier. Gaim, and the original, and Double.
So for me, I'm a huge Seer 5, Decade. So Forrester, this is basically how I would describe you to people. Okay. Forrester knows exactly what I'm about to do. Forrester, this is how I would describe these people.
Well, he's very popular, Ed. The sportos and motorheads, geeks, sluts, bloods, wastoids, dweebies, dickheads, they all adore him. They think he's a righteous dude.
That is for you, Forrester. That is for you.
Thanks
We
a
are
lot.
old. It's official. We are old.
Yep.
By the way, did you see when that movie came out? 1986.
6.
I technically
No,
didn't exist
no,
yet.
no. Oh, Geek Hero, no. Get the fuck out of here. This is a Sega stream, just like this is a Christian Minecraft server. Fuck.
Excuse me. But
Forrester, what's your favorite crossover tokusatsu movie? Like, you know, like the superhero Taizens of the world and whatnot. What's some of your favorites?
Probably I don't even think it was a well-liked one, but I liked Kamen Rider Tyson.
Which one? Showa versus Heisei or
Showa versus Heisei, yeah.
Yeah, that one was okay. It's a little GP was better, I think.
The Grand Prix, the race.
Yeah, because they brought back Black. Also, I mean, Showa vs. Heisei was cool because they brought back Fies, because like I'm a huge Fies fan, and anytime to bring back Takumi is gonna make me happy. He had a really good arc in Showa vs. Heisei. GP was cool because like they kind of made it like because it was like they was because of Blade anniversary, so they brought back like Garen and whatnot. Also just drop like see there's one Tizen that I really wish we would have gotten, where they would have brought in like all the police and investigation teams. Like just imagine this, okay? Deca Ranger. Let's see here. It's like Deca Ranger. W, Drive, you know, Sheriff Gavin, Blue SWAT, you know, like all the like go. Imagine that movie. That would have been so cool.
Yeah,
that would have been a masterpiece if done well.
The one where they did with the magic. What movie was that one? I think.
Did you see the one last year? The superhero Sinki was the Saber crossover movie. And they were doing the original creator of the franchise as a kid.
No,
which,
I know
because Saber was all about fairy tales and stories and stuff anyway. And yeah, so they like were doing Ishinomori himself, and Hongo shows up. But the original Hongo, because like he knew and was somewhat friends with the real Ishinomori. So, and they acknowledged the fact that in this present timeline of 2021 or 2, that Ishinomori has passed on, and he's like talking about his friend, but he gets real emotional, and it was really sweet because you could tell he wasn't acting. He's in character as Takashi Hongo saying this, but like, you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
And they blended the real with the not real, but and it's
yeah, they've been doing that with some of their movies, like Heisei Generations Forever.
But it worked because the whole theme of Saber was books and stories and like going inside books and stuff like that. So you had a season theme that could actually it worked with what had been happening in the series.
What did you think about Heisei Generations Forever, where they basically had like they went into the real world and you actually had writers go into like a room full of writer figures, like they actually had like I actually thought that was a really nice send off to Heisei. Like my favorite moment was when Kuga like comes up and he gives the thumbs up to the kid, and like Dad's like, "Hey, look!" And like the whole thing is like the kid wants to go home and see Kuga. Like I just thought that was a really nice way.
I was surprised by that because Japanese media tends to poke fun at otakus, and I thought for sure there was going to be like a cheap shot there, but there wasn't. So.
I don't know when it comes to set like tokusatsu. Like for example, the Gokaiger Goseiger crossover movie. they actually had like a businessman kind of get re in touch with his youth, a little bit. I thought that was really nice.
Yeah, that was I had a fan fiction about 10 years ago. I didn't actually write it. I just conceived it in my head of what I would write as a 30th anniversary, but I was assuming the returning actors would come. So assuming they couldn't get returning actors back, my concept was there's this guy, he's like 40 or so, who was a child that was rescued by the original Rangers. And like, if you could find a kid in any episode, retcon that was this character. And for the last 30 years, he's been like this obsessive, like Mulder for the Power Rangers, and he's obsessed with them and gathers up pieces of debris after battles and stuff like that, and has this collection. And the end gimmick would be that to save his family, he uses his Power Ranger relics to tap into the morphin grid to morph one time and save his family, but he also has to burn up and destroy his collection to do it.
That could work as a one-off.
Wow.
That really could work as a one-off.
Well, the idea, my concept here was to, I wanted there to be Rangers in it, but I didn't know who would be available. Never 10 years ago.
That almost sounds like Kamen Rider, like kind of like a Kamen Rider G kind of thing.
Yeah, but I didn't think Billy would be back. But I figured whoever's willing to come back could actually be in this and be the cavalry at the end. Like, I'm not so cheesy as to make this guy the actual hero. No, it would work about as well as Adam's Broken Morphin.
Wait, remember the Lightspeed Rescue and Galaxy team up where they had the Red Ranger carried this little girl with the balloon and didn't go anywhere?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Also, I gotta say this.
But I
for the love of God, please bring back Blake Foster. I for the love of God,
yeah.
Please bring back Justin.
He got a bad rap in Turbo. I will admit that.
Here's what I'll have to say about this. If you watch True Blue The Rescue, you will realize the problem is not Blake Foster. It's the writers, because the writers in Turbo were shit. I'm sorry, but In Space had so much better writers, and he was written so much better. He was not annoying. He was actually endearing and great. So the problem was never Blake Foster. His acting was never the problem. It was the writers.
That is true, and this is probably due to the fact that Wild Force was directly adapting from its Sentai, except the team-up episode. But Ananias or Anubis and that child vessel he had in the back half, God, that kid was annoying.
Yeah, we don't like to talk about that.
Like, seriously, I get it. You're literally taking the form of a child for whatever, because it's Sentai, because it's a reference to the Sentai, but you are not in the position to seize the moral high ground here. And that's all I'm going to say about that, because I'll have an aneurysm.
Forrester, do you think they'll ever adapt Kamen Rider again, or do you think probably the best we're going to get is just the Blu-ray releases? Because 01 actually got a Blu-ray release. And Saber probably will as well. They're releasing Kamen Rider on Blu-ray. Do you think that's the best we're going to get, or do you think we might get, because Shin Kamen Rider is getting an actual American theatrical release. I'm going to try and go see it in theaters.
What?
I think they will at some point. It's inevitable, but I don't think it'll ever be like Dragon Knight or Masked Rider as a straight-up children's thing. I think I've thought for a while that as the superhero bubble pops, tokusatsu adaptations might be at least attempted as the replacement genre, even if it doesn't catch on.
I think if on Bandai's part, I think Bandai is finally, because Bandai for the past 20 years has refused to acknowledge that they have American fans, because the merchandise in America has had pretty healthy sales ever since 2000. Thank you, Bluefin, by the way. And I think Toei is just starting to acknowledge. Not just as far as toy wise, Toei has always kind of done stuff for adult fans, like the CSM line. Like all the lightning collections, all that stuff is just basically copying the complete selection idea. But as far as the shows, I think Toei is finally starting to get the idea that they can do adult shows. We're getting adult Kamen Rider shows with Shin Kamen Rider, Black Sun.
Yep.
Yeah, the best way to capitalize on it is to make. They tried to do this back in Gen X, but it failed miserably. Essentially, make Kamen Rider the mature Power Rangers. And
Well, that's what I meant. Not that mature. Not Black Sun level. Not for America.
That's too mature. That is too mature.
Yeah. No, I think. But like the next PG-13, like the next MCU type thing.
You know what? Because like I think, because here's what I think is going to happen. I think Power Rangers is going to go to a series, and probably the first season is just going to be Mighty Morphin, and then from season 2 onward, they might kind of open it up to other ones. Because I think an adult Power Ranger season, I think we're about ready for it. But also, here's the other thing: since the multiverse is already established within Power Rangers, I think we're going to get a Sentai Power Ranger crossover.
Mighty Morphin and Zeo Ranger.
I think what we might get is...
I think of Cameo maybe in a Toei project. I mean, Akiba Ranger already acknowledged the American series.
Oh, there's been crossover. Like, you know how the Maji Ranger, Deca Ranger, you got the Battle Thong?
Mm-hmm.
The Battleizer from SPD is in that crossover movie.
Nice.
Nice.
Akiba Ranger also referenced it twice, actually. There's the first episode where Deca Red says he's going to a Power Rangers SPD convention, which...
Yep.
Oh my god. Also, season 2, you have the Powerful
Rangers and their parody of the Image Comics Zeo cover.
I love it. Like, it's basically an alternate reality where Super Sentai is actually an adaptation of Power Rangers. Like, I'm sorry, Akiba Rangers was way too smart for its own good. I'm sorry.
It really was.
But did you see that comic book he's holding? The Powerful Rangers.
No, I
it's
didn't.
a send-up of Image Comics Zeo that only got one issue. But they had
really?
like, asinine, huge 90s muscles.
I remember that.
I'm gonna send it to you on Twitter.
There's actually did you know? I think didn't Turbo and Beetleborgs actually get a crossover in the comics?
They did.
Take it easy, Herman.
They did, and if you ever read it online, I was the person who actually scanned and made that PDF.
Oh well, thank you.
Nice.
Yep. Probably just sent myself to jail for copyright violations.
Oh. Yep. But yeah, just the Kamen fan base is here, and I know we're talking about we've talked about the collapse of superhero comic book movies. I myself I've done literally 2 different, I did an episode about it, then a live stream. So I myself have contributed to the discussion. But personally, I don't think comic movies will ever really go away. Like, Westerns never really went away. No. I just think we're not going to get as many.
I don't know. I don't think a Toku adaptation will necessarily work for theaters. I see it more as
TV.
Streaming service and more of a limited basis. A tone somewhere a little more masculine and mature than the CW shows, but still,
God willing.
Yeah, but still below Dark Knight and all.
I think the Dark Kamen Rider stuff is probably still going to be brought over for streaming. I mean, we've already gotten, for example, you can stream Kuga on Tubi. I think that we might see some of the Kamen Rider series actually go to a paid service, like a Netflix. I can really see Netflix bringing over Kamen Rider, and maybe certain Sentai seasons. I don't know.
But a Mighty Morphin Zeo Ranger crossover, could that really work?
Well, a lot of it is, do the actors speak English? Which there are Sentai actors who do speak perfect English. Sure, it would be great. It would be great to see Austin St. John and Geki meet. I mean, they met at Power Morphicon. We know that, but I don't know. I'm trying to think. I know Ramirez is actually Canadian. Ramirez from the Dino ones from Dino Charts in Japan.
Abba Ranger.
No.
Charger.
Huger. And then I know Bosco from Gokaiger speaks really good English, even with an American accent.
Well, just do it if it's for a Japanese audience, do it in English. I mean, do it in both languages the way Godzilla Final Wars did, where like they had English characters talking English with subtitle.
Plus,
That could work.
I imagine these actors, they could at least probably learn their lines phonetically, so that like they can actually just speak English, but they don't actually know what they're saying. Because fun fact, Amade Armas for her first movie, she actually learned all of her lines in English, but she actually didn't know to speak a word of English. And it was on set, and they asked her to improv, and that's when they found out that she couldn't speak English. So like she actually left the set for like a month or so and learned English. Fun fact.
Okay, Nick, I just sent you on Twitter. Put this up. It's the fake comic book cover from Akiba Ranger next to the actual one-issue Image comic they're poking fun at.
Okay, one sec. Let me just load
But
it.
could a Boom Comics adaptation, whether it be animation or something along that lines, could that work, or should that be avoided at all?
Well, here's the thing. There's no way in hell that they can do
Live action. That's out. That's
no. Let me speak. So this is what he referenced, and yeah. It's pretty. Yep.
That is really obscure that they.
I mean, it's Akiba Ranger. Like, what do you expect from this show?
Oh, I know, but that Image series only got one issue. That's what's so funny.
The fact that the Japanese know about it, like, this is obscure even for American audiences.
Right. Akiba Ranger was brilliant.
It really was.
It really was.
Also, I love the fact that the villain in Akiba Ranger is actually a Japanese porn star.
A lot of
Legit?
Super Sentai villains were adult actors at one
Well,
point.
okay. I need to draw a line here. So a lot of the female Sentai actresses did what's called guave, which is a form of softcore pornography where they're just like in bikinis and just like they're doing like cute shots. It is like the softest of softcore porn.
Okay.
Forrester, am I getting this right?
Yeah, but I never knew how to say the word. I always pronounced it gravure.
Okay, now you guys are Googling it. Like,
Jared.
I always pronounced her gravure idol. I didn't know.
Guave.
Guave idol. Okay.
Nick, look at Jared's comment. Okay, for you Marvel fans out there, you probably already know this, but Riri Williams, Brian Michael Bendis got that from, let's just say, a dirt film. But Nick, was it guave or was it a different type altogether?
It was porn.
Okay. Just wanted to confirm.
I'm not Googling that or anything.
You're better off, Nick. Trust me.
Yeah. No. Just please don't.
Okay.
Also, I'm about to treat you guys in a second because Let's see here. By the way, these pictures I'm about to pull up, they are safe for work. So. Oh my god! So like
Think of the children.
As you know, I'm a big Gokaiger fan. So
Was this Luca?
Yeah. Like
It's
they
always
made her a Spider-Gwen! Like this is Guave. Okay, she's fully clothed. Okay, guys. Like, I'm sorry, but this actress is just so cute. Like seriously, look at this stuff. It's you see this on magazine covers at grocery stores. Like yeah, so
Yeah, she's a prolific voice actress now too. She Mao Ichimichi, she was Kari in the new Digimon.
Oh, that's probably it right there.
No, that's not Digimon, but she's been in a bunch of.
But yeah, like
They actually made a joke. Hey, did you see the Gokaiger stuff last year?
10 years after?
That, and then the one with the two Kaiser, the like short 20-minute crossover they did as a sequel to it.
No, I didn't see a sequel. Like, what's funny is 10 years after was the first time that
No, 10 Gokaiger.
Huh, I might need to check that out. Like, as like, so anyone who does like Sentai Kamen Rider, you know that you like torrent it from places like TV Nihon and whatnot. I haven't actually been in the scene for like at least 5 years at that point, so like it was really weird being like, oh wow, half the stuff is shut down. I gotta, it was really weird, kind of just going back into that. It's like, it's like kind of going back to an old place. And it's like, wow, this has changed.
But well, we've talked about a lot tonight, like for real.
Yeah, we've been going for a while. I didn't need the stream to go on this long. Do you guys want to wrap up, or do you guys feel like you can go for a little bit longer?
I can go for a little bit longer. What about you guys?
I'm good with whatever. I've got no plans.
Yeah, I gotta re-upload the last episode of Super Screen Brothers because, stupid me, for some reason the main audio track got muted, and I didn't realize that until after people were pointing it out. So I privated the video, and I'm going to re-upload it. So
when you re-upload it, you can put Ron Wasserman's name in it.
Well, no, not this one. No, Super Split Screen Brothers, my last podcast.
Oh, well, are you going to be able to put on the YouTube?
Oh, this one, I'm just going to retitle it and then probably do a new thumbnail.
Yeah,
and believe it or not, I didn't know about the whole Ironheart thing till relatively recently.
By the way, see, the thing is, I realized with Ron Wasserman, I could have promoted it and I could have gotten a lot more people, but I wanted it to be a surprise. Like, I just wanted it to be a surprise.
It's more organic that way.
Yeah, and actually, Forrester, as far as retitling it, credit to Jared. He pointed that out to me last night, so that's what I'm going to do with this stream.
Okay.
No, where was it? Yeah, and I'm gonna go as fast as humanly possible. But this was like 2 years ago. My younger cousin, I was babysitting him. He's like, I'm not gonna go into too much detail about my cousin, but he's a little guy. He wanted to get into Marvel. This was doing All New, All Different, and he actually did try to look up Riri Williams, but he went by Ironheart. And then all of a sudden, and I'm like, what are you watching? And I'm just like, oh my God, Bendis, you dirty bastard. Believe it or not, I could have sued Marvel for that. But
speaking of pornography and tokusatsu, I'm just gonna say the 2 words, and Forrester is gonna know exactly what I'm talking about. The Pool.
Yep.
By the way, did you know that The Pool appears in Forza?
The Pool?
Oh, okay.
So come on.
Okay, so
All right.
We're 3 hours in, and this is already an adult stream anyway. So, in Japanese pornography, they often shoot their scenes at a very specific pool. Okay.
Oh God.
And this
you were warned,
pool,
Nix.
I'm actually pulling up a YouTube video from Comrade Forza. So
Come on, man, don't screen share this. Come on.
I do know what you're talking about.
Oh yeah. Like any self-respecting otaku knows. All right. So this is from Comrade Forza. So yeah, Forza was like, I gotta say, like Forza
got away with a lot, all things considered.
Especially this next clip I'm about to show from episode 1.
All right, we're in too deep now.
All right. All right. All right. So yes. By the way, Comrade Forza is actually a good series. So
it is. It is.
なんか秘密基地みたいでかっこいいな。後をつけたのか。まさかあのゴリラはお前が操縦していたとはな。そこまで見てたのか。
Wait. Oh, this isn't okay. Is it the second episode where
I thought it was the third.
Okay, it's episode 2. Sorry. Yeah, okay. You guys just talk while I pull it up.
Okay.
This is the most replayed portion of the video that I haven't marked. I feel dirty.
I think we crossed past the point of no return.
Yeah, long ago. All right.
Demonetized.
Yep.
やっぱ宇宙なんだ。
何やってんの？ゲンちゃんも早く脱いで。
それはどういうことかな。
This was a kids' television show.
Well, they used to get away with stuff in the 90s. Do you remember Batman, The Man Who Killed Batman, and Harley as a lawyer?
Oh, yeah. And do you remember what's that one villain? The Rocketeer, the thrill-seeking villain?
Yeah,
Rocky Rocket.
Bullock was like, don't I know you from somewhere? And Harley's like, I served you a subpoena once. It was a small subpoena.
Dear God. Oh, my
Great
God.
Great times.
Also, Jared, hey, on the Flash, fastest man alive. No wonder you can't keep
Can't get a date.
Hey! I cannot believe they did that.
The dramatic pause. Like it took... Oh, no. The JLU one with fire.
Well, what about off screen when Hot Girl and Green Lantern were like, they were repairing something, but from outside the station, they made it sound like something else where he's like, there it is. No, it's not. That's not the spot. Yes, it is. I think I would know.
Wait, isn't that when
but
John
then you
gets
cut to
injured?
the inside and they're repairing some console.
Oh.
And then they finally
That wasn't a fair and all but name. Let's just call it for what it is.
Yeah, then they finally did kiss. It cut back to the old lady at the casino and she finally wins and says, jackpot. But like, it cuts to the ka-ching sound.
I'm sorry. I'm just going to say one word and you guys are all going to cringe. Yahtzee!
Oh, God. Oh, that.
It didn't work for us all on our film. It doesn't work now.
You know what made that movie worse for me? I watched it the exact same night. I watched Winter Soldier, which was much better. And I usually don't say that about an MCU movie. I actually usually like the animated DC movies better. But my mother took a phone call. So my brothers and I, we had paused Winter Soldier and went and watched that movie, cringed hard at Yahtzee, and then came back to finish the good movie. But all I can say about that is I got to watch the second half of Winter Soldier as a palate cleanser.
Yeah, Winter Soldier's a bit of a slog. Yeah, it does drag in the beginning, but by the time you get to the second act, it's worth it.
I'm a big fan of spy thrillers and stuff. My obsession with James Bond is legendary, so I love
James Bond.
Yeah, I didn't even think the first part drugged to me. I just like any of that genre. That's the problem. The early MCU, you know what? This is the thing about the early MCU. They were good, but when you think back on them, it's because the MCU was giving us, it was like filling a gap other movies weren't giving us at the time. We weren't really watching the MCU, and we were thinking of what we'd rather be watching, and the MCU was close enough.
See,
that is true. That is a fair point.
The early MCU movies, you got to realize the springboard for the MCU was Batman Begins. Let's be honest here. They were trying to do Batman Begins, and that's what the early MCU was, where they were serious movies, but they also took the source material seriously. Like they basically, it was silly, but they played it straight. And I think that was kind of the magic of the early MCU. Now the movies still kind of take the material seriously, but the movies themselves aren't as serious.
Basically, the Dark Knight trilogy, but much toned down.
Well, the thing is, the thing you gotta realize is, Iron Man came out the same year as Dark Knight, so the only they were going off of Batman Begins. That is why I very specifically said that, because Dark Knight hadn't even came out the same year as Iron Man.
One thing the early ones all had, up through maybe up till Age of Ultron is really when they lost the plot, but each of their movies and their TV shows back then were recognizably part of a genre. Like Iron Man was kind of a contemporary RoboCop. Thor could be described as sort of urban fantasy. Captain America was, World War II superhero fantasy. Like each Daredevil was a street, like a crime drama, street level, and you could name what genre each piece was in.
And
the Avengers was a crossover, but that's kind of a genre in itself.
And the thing is, with Phase 1, they made it a point of hiring directors for the genre. Like
Right.
Iron Man 1 and 2 was Jon Favreau, who was a bit of an up-and-comer at the time, but he proved himself. I don't remember who did the Hulk. For Thor, they got Kenneth Branagh. That's why Hulk 1 has the Shakespearean feel to it. And I think it works. And then for Captain America, they got Joe Johnson.
Yep.
You almost said Captain Marvel.
Joe Johnson was perfect for that. Was perfect. That's why that to work. And then honestly, I think Johnson was perfect for the Avengers. All Age of Ultron was kind of a good good, but also Johnson.
Hold on. Can y'all hear him?
No, I can't. We're losing him.
No. Who,
Yeah.
me?
Yeah, your audio's starting to go out.
Sorry, Nick.
Wait, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Oh, we can hear you now.
Much better. I was kind of leaning back a little bit. Maybe I was too far for the mic or something.
Probably.
That's weird. Let me just kind of put that forward a little bit. But yeah, I don't know. It's just they just got the best directors, and they kind of did that with Phase 2. Like with Guardians of the Galaxy, they got James Gunn, the Russo brothers for Winter Soldier. But definitely, but if they're starting to phase it out, that idea out, Phase 2. Did you know that? What's the director of Wonder Woman? What's her name?
Patty Jenkins.
Yeah.
Patty Jenkins almost got the gig for Thor: Dark World. But they hired one of the Game of Thrones directors for Dark World.
I actually liked that movie. I know it was mid, but I didn't hate it.
Yeah, I'd say it's mid. I mean, people hated it at the time, but I didn't really see too much of a problem with it. I could see Dark World as a one-off, or
yeah, I liked it. It's overshadowed in my head by the Agent Carter short film on the Blu-ray.
Oh, definitely.
I didn't even know that was there, and then I find it in special features, and I am mad in love with Haley Atwell, so that just made my day. Her show was iffy, but that short film is gold.
Yeah,
I actually feel let's just say Haley Atwell carried that show.
Yeah, she did. I still I'd take it over the other stuff. I actually watched it. I haven't watched any of the others. I
saw the first season of Peggy of that one, but I kind of dropped out of the second one just because it got
Yeah, second season didn't do it as well.
I think it fell off in the second season because it just became a love quartet at that point.
Yeah. I have no hope for Daredevil. I'm gonna say it.
Yeah,
it's
gonna suck.
So, I've said this before, and I always get pushback for it, but they're literally redoing Born Again. Because the season 3 storyline was Born Again. I don't care what excuses. I don't care what little copium they try to do. They're doing Born it's literally the title is called Born Again. They're doing that storyline. Also the fact that this isn't the Netflix universe. It's very clearly the same actors in a different universe, multiverse.
They've already shown us what their tone is going to be when he's doing the Walk of Shame from She-Hulk's place.
Yeah.
And to be fair, Daredevil has been characterized as a bit of a manhole in the past. Not as much as Nightwing or John Constantine, but he has. But true. Even then, the She-Hulk was such a monumentous lack of tact.
I mean, She-Hulk is basically every 35 to 40-year-old white woman.
Oh,
or at least a stereotype of it.
Nix, do you have a response to that?
To the white woman comment, or?
Yes.
God, I hope I don't come off as a stereotype.
No, you're
no, not at all.
No. It's just
You were mostly talking about how bad She-Hulk was.
No, I was talking about white woman, and as the only white woman in this stream, I guess he wanted your comment. It's like Jay Heat, you're a black guy. What you think? What you comment on black thing? You know, like.
No, I know.
I'm pointing out I'm pointing out the absurdity of it. That's what I'm doing.
I think Jay Heat got it right. It had a massive lack of tact, and also massive lack of talent.
That is also true, because they didn't even know how to write crime drama.
No.
NCIS, Criminal Minds, SVU. I can name at least a dozen crime shows.
Now I'm imagining Cody DePablo as She-Hulk, and I'm happy. Like I'm just imagining Cody DePablo with the NCIS writers on She-Hulk, and
what we could have gotten.
I'm happy.
I'm not asking for much, I don't think, but all I want is you're telling us you're going to give us this character. Give us the character.
Please.
She-Hulk was absolutely not in character. Jen Walters is supposed to be much more compassionate. They didn't give us that. They gave us a bitchy, holier than thou. I'm not going to say the word, but I think you all know what I'm implying.
Yeah. Nick, would you like to do the honors?
Do what honors?
Never mind. But I think Nick's gotten her point across. And to be fair, the production of She-Hulk was back during Outrage marketing 2016, 2017. Then it got delayed for a year and a half. They did tone down some of the quote-unquote Trumpisms, but you could still tell they were there. They just found something else to badmouth about. But then they brought Doomcock into the show, and
which inadvertently gave him more promotion than he's ever had before, and it's like, congratulations, you played yourself.
Yeah,
basically.
And I guess the only real merit I can give She-Hulk, other than the fact that it was because Universal hasn't done anything Hulk related in years. So they were finally able to get acquisition of the Hulk characters. So this was more so, because they have to get one project in to cement that. And She-Hulk was just crapped out. It was unsalvageable, but we need the project to cement the Hulk characters into the MCU. So we just got to do what we got to do.
They really have to do my girl dirty like that.
Does Paramount still own the Hulk rights? Like, I've heard conflicting things. Like, some people say the Hulk is back at Marvel. Some people say Paramount still owns the Hulk.
They never officially confirmed that, in my opinion. I know Universal hasn't done a Hulk project in a long time, but
the thing is, I think the Incredible Hulk movie was like Universal co-production because Universal owns the rights, and basically Marvel is allowed to use the Hulk in crossovers, but not for his own movie, which is why we haven't seen a Hulk crossover Hulk movie since.
Speaking of the Hulk movie, does anyone remember the game that came from that movie?
I think the Hulk 03 or Incredible Hulk?
Or you mean Hulk Ultimate Destruction for the PS2 and Xbox? That's the one that people talk about a lot.
Yeah.
I think I remember it being on the GameCube, but I could be misremembering.
I think Ultimate Destruction was on the GameCube, yeah. Yeah, when people talk about like Hulk video games, because there's actually been quite a few of them, that's the one that people kind of circle around as like the best one.
Did y'all watch the cartoon Hulk in the 90s?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Which, by the way, that She-Hulk was great.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I've never heard of it because it was on UPN and got no promotion.
Well, here's the thing: they had their UPN kids, and then but the thing is, I remember they always aired it in there's like an hour block where they did Hulk, and then what was it? Jumanji. Everyone remember the Jumanji cartoon, which was I think that cartoon was actually pretty good.
It was decent. It was decent.
UPN had weird marketing. I remember these commercials where for some reason they decided to pronounce it Oopin.
Yeah,
And-
UPN was basically because like the thing is, in the mid 2000s, UPN and the WB merged to become the CW, because like the UPN was mostly like they syndicated a lot of their stuff because like for example, even though they had Star Trek, it always aired at different times in different markets. I remember for me in Metro Detroit, Voyager always aired Wednesdays at 8. And because I always remember me and my dad would kind of sit there and watch it. And before that, the early days was a show called The Sentinel. And I remember Jerry Ryan actually guest starred on one of it. And then later on, there was a show called 7 Days, which is like basically there's like this sphere where a guy can go back in time 7 days.
They also had Hercules, the Legendary Journeys, which I remember watching the TV.
In
movie.
my market, Hercules aired on WB20.
Okay, yeah, this would have been before there was a WB, 94. They had a block called the Action Pack.
Yeah.
I remember Hercules and the Ring of Fire was the first one I saw.
Yeah, because I think with Hercules, didn't they do like a couple TV like movies?
Yeah, like 4 or 5 of them. Yep. Mm-hmm.
And then Xena was a spin-off of Hercules.
God, I love Xena.
Yeah, everyone does.
My generation didn't get as many heroes as like my father was born in the 30s, so he was like he grew up with all the cowboys. My generation didn't get as many of like the classic male heroes, but I feel like we had a solid at least 4 of them in Kevin Sorbo Hercules, Dean Cain Superman, Chuck Norris Walker, and then of course JDF on Power Rangers, and they are like the icon.
We're talking television, right?
Well, yeah, television heroes, but.
Well, I'm trying
Who
to
was
think.
in the movies that kids and adults admired then that was like a
I think Patrick Stewart as Picard.
He's kind of. You know what I mean by hero.
No. I mean, okay. Nowadays, he's mocked. But for the longest time, Picard was a fan favorite. Because here's the thing you gotta realize. Even though, like, TNG is kind of like a late 80s, early 90s show, the rerun, it was still rerunning strong, even up into the 2000s. So most 90s kids grew up with TNG.
Agreed.
I might be kind of different because like my dad was a huge Trekkie, so of course I got exposed to a lot of Star Trek as a kid. But yeah, TNG was a big deal. Voyager, Deep Space Nine, Cisco. Oh, we got to mention Cisco from Deep Space Nine. Because if we're talking about like good male influences, we got to talk about Cisco. I will punch a Q member of the Q collective in the face and not care.
Yeah.
I'm not Picard.
Based. Absolutely based moment.
Also,
he grew to it. That's actually like I think Cisco is my favorite of the captains because I don't think he was the best of them. Like if I had to name who I think was actually the best, I'd have to give it to Kirk on the technicality that the original series didn't give him any flaws. So he wins by cheating. In terms of the the later series I just feel like Cisco grew the most because he did not want to be there. And he hated Picard in the pilot and like he completely changed. Like none of the other Star Trek captains have growth like that.
Janeway. I'm sorry. Janeway had a huge growth. Like also when you realize what like he had to hold the crew together when they were like literally in a different galaxy.
See, I'm going to fight you on that. I disagree. I don't think Janeway changed a whole lot. I think she had her views challenged, but generally went back to basically, nope, the Starfleet way is how we've got to do it. And
I still think she may not have grown, but I still think she was basically Janeway was like the central fixed point that everyone kind of revolved around because like all the other characters changed, but she was the steadying force. Like she was the anchor. I think the fact that she didn't change really helped the show because she was a rallying point. All the other characters changed around her.
I thought you were alluding to Hulk 03, which really wasn't that bad of a movie. The CGI it had cringy dialogue, but Hulk 03 wasn't that bad in my opinion.
Never saw it.
Yeah, not the worst.
I will say this. Sam Elliott is probably the best General Ross we have ever gotten.
Yep, I'll concede that. I'll concede that.
Was it the guy from Jurassic Park?
No, he is Big Lebowski. You've seen him and stuff. Tombstone.
Oh, him! I don't know why I said that. Yeah, of course I know who he is.
I find it funny that Sam Elliott's been in 2 Marvel properties.
What's the name of the guy from Jurassic Park? He was in a TV Merlin movie.
Oh, Sam Neill.
Sam Neill, yeah, okay, I confused him.
I'm sorry, but as soon as you said Merlin, because like I've actually seen that movie, and it's like, oh, you are like I like that movie is so obscure. You're lucky I've seen it. That is so like such an obscure. I think it was a miniseries actually.
Yeah, it was a miniseries. Yep.
That is so.
Merlin we talking about?
Sam Neill, the guy who played was in Jurassic Park, was Merlin in the miniseries, like late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah, 98.
See, most people when they think of Merlin, they think of the BBC series, which is phenomenal, by the way.
I just remember waiting a long time for it to air, and like I'd seen the commercials, but because there's no internet, you couldn't really look up, so I kept always like checking the TV to see when it would be on.
Well, that's because back in the late 2000s, this is like pre-BBC America, where like British shows took a while to come over. Like I actually remember watching Doctor Who because like Doctor Who didn't come over to America until like 2007 on Sci-Fi, but it actually came over to Canada in 2006. Because I actually remember watching Doctor Who because since I live in Detroit, I can actually get the CBC over the air. And so yeah, like a lot of Metro Detroit people, like they're nostalgic for some Canadian shows. Like for example, Mr. Dress Up, you know, any Canadian person will instantly know what I'm talking about. But like, you know, I remember watching Mr. Dress Up and whatnot. But like, yeah, Doctor Who aired Tuesdays at 8.
You didn't see? You didn't watch Tom Baker on PBS?
I'm not that old.
Oh well, I did. This would have been like 1993, and
I was 5 years. I was 4 or 5 years old.
So was I, and I remember.
I was never like. I'm gonna be honest with you. I was never too big in Doctor Who. Like I've had a lot of friends who have been. That's where like most of my knowledge come from.
My father lived in England in the 70s, and so because he worked at the Royal Air Force, and so he got real excited. He was like, "You got to see this. This is what all the kids in England were watching when I lived there." When it was a telethon, they were showing Tom Baker Doctor Who all day. And because Washington, D.C., you know, it's a pretty big area, they actually had Tom Baker himself. Although I swear he must have been drunk or stoned because he barely seemed to know what was going on and babbled. And I've seen him in other things later where he's coherent. So I don't know what his deal was on that PBS.
By the way, did you know that in Rebels, Tom Baker voiced Bendu?
Did not know that.
Yeah. Yeah. That was actually Tom Baker doing the voice.
He's in one of the Narnia adaptations too, the Silver Chair.
Also in The Hobbit, Sylvester McCoy plays Radagast.
Anybody remember BBC Narnia?
No.
Tom Baker gives the like climactic speech at the end of Silver Chair about like fantasy being better than reality.
I'm gonna say this: Tom Baker is, as far as voiceovers are concerned, is the British Peter Cullen.
I agree.
Before time began, there was the key.
Wait, didn't South Park, when they did like it was Tomorrowland, and they did a parody of Lord of the Rings, didn't they do a Tom Baker impression?
Wasn't Tom Baker in like the original D&D movie back in like the one that John Irons was in?
I'm pretty sure that was Tom Baker.
I'm sorry, my memories are flooding in.
Oh man, one whiff of nostalgia. We've been at this for almost 3.5 hours.
This is the nostalgia stream.
Like honestly, the Tom Baker speech that's sticking in my head is in that Narnia movie in the Silver Chair because he gives this like rousing speech where he's telling the witch because they're like the characters are trapped in this cave and she's like using magic to gaslight them into believing that they can't leave the cave because nothing exists outside it. And he burned himself in a fire like intentionally to break the spell or something like that. I forget how he got burned, but anyway, he breaks out of her control and he gives this like rousing speech where he basically says that, you know, if your world is all there is, well, we can make up a world in our heads that can whoop your real world. And, you know, like, thank you.
That sounds more like a Terry Pratchett kind of speech.
It kind of was. It was like, thank you kindly for the supper, madam. Now, if you'll excuse me, something like, you know, I don't know, we're going to go look for our world, even if we can't, you know, like, our, you know, like, even if we don't find it, even if it doesn't exist. And he's like, not that our lives will be very long, but it's a small world, it's small loss if the world's really as dull as you say.
That sounds like a Terry Pratchett speech. I'm sorry.
It really was. C.S. Lewis was basically the Christian Terry Pratchett. Like, he was a proto.
No, if we're going to talk about, like, weird British sci-fi authors, did you know that Douglas Adams actually wrote for Doctor Who?
I believe it. Like, I'm not at all surprised.
Yeah.
And, that speech just speaks to me as a nerd, because it's like, you know, like, I think the nerd interpretation of that is even stronger than the intended religious meaning.
Yeah, I think honestly, the equivalent of that I have for me, and I think a lot of people are going to resonate with this. By the way, as soon as I pull it up, people like Nix and J Heat are going to be like, yes. All right, share screen. As soon as you guys see this, you'll be like,
yeah.
Oh my god.
I remember this.
Yeah.
Oh shit. I'm sorry, but like that is like 90s kid Shakespeare right there.
It really was.
It really was.
But I was gonna say, back when you guys were talking about Merlin, I actually watched that. I was probably a bit young to be watching it when I did. But I remember the ending the ending to his tale, at least, we'll say, where he defeats her by just like turning his back on her and walking away.
Good times.
Good
Yeah.
times.
I'm trying to remember if it was something we had on, basically ripped onto an empty VHS, because I know that my grandmother's, I refuse to call him my grandfather, but my grandmother's second husband did that a lot.
So,
a lot of movies, but
if on the subject of like like cartoons that were like somehow like had good messages.
Change is good. Yeah, but it's not easy. I know what I have to do, but going back means I'll have to face my past. I've been running from it for so long. Ow! Jeez, what was that for? It doesn't matter. It's in the past. Yeah, but it still hurts. Oh, yes, the past can hurt.
I mean, we're 3.5 hours into the stream. I just don't care anymore. If Disney wants to take me down, whatever.
That was. I still quote that to this day sometimes.
Remember who you are.
You are.
All right. Let's put a cap on this. Final words, guys.
Like, comment, and subscribe. 30 years Power Rangers. What the heck? I'll say it anyway. Wonderbat!
I don't even think Jared's here anymore, but like, Nix.
I've got a lot of new shows to go watch.
Yes, you do. And then Forrester.
I can say whatever I want because nobody stayed in the stream this long.
Oh yeah, say whatever you want.
I got nothing. Sorry.
Hell them ass bitch shit fuck pussy. Fuck her right in the pussy.
We're demonetized anyway. Why not?
I don't care. All right, everybody. Thank you for watching. And remember, I can only show you the door. You're the ones to walk through it.
Flame off.
Wonderbat.